The Chicago Street Course was born in iRacing and brought to life by NASCAR, taking the, at the time, 75-year-old stock car series onto city streets for the first time in history. While torrential rains somewhat spoiled the debut, there's no rain in sight this evening for the XCAL Webshop series in their 16th race of 2024. Welcome to Pit Stop TV and the virtual Chicago, Illinois. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murtis alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for round 16 of the 2024 XCAL Webshop series. This has been a very large undertaking just to make this broadcast happen this evening, and it's really cool to see it all come together from this side of things. Tonight's coverage is brought to you from Chicago, of course, the virtual Chicago. Oh, and it didn't work. We had a graphic for that, and it didn't pull up. That is so unfortunate. But anyways, coverage of this evening's broadcast brought to you by Admin Box, The Butt Kicker, Flaming Karma Paint Shop, the Tri-E Cooler Crew, and the XCAL Web Shop. And I'll get better at those as we go on and I get more familiar with those names. And I'll do the Tri-E Cooler Crew a little more justice as we go on. But of course, so many great partners, including the XCAL Web Shop, included and so very important to this series that make this broadcast happen, make this series happen, these races, and allow us to talk about virtual race cars this evening. Pixel cars, as some call them. And Zach, while these pixel cars are flying around a pixel track this evening, it is no easy track to get around. These streets of Chicago, very, very tough.
Absolutely, and this is one track I haven't actually had a lot of experience with when it comes to racing, especially when it comes to something like the street stock. Never really expected to see it being utilized on a street course, and honestly, I'm all for it. I love seeing these car combinations and track combinations, and even the street stock as well. Street stock has always handled beautifully on road courses. It's something you only usually see on the ovals, something like Southern National Motorsports Park, or even Bristol sometimes, or Langley Speedway. That's one of the favorite tracks for these cars on the iRacing simulator, but now we get to see them utilized on the streets of Chicago, just like the NASCAR stock cars, and I think this is going to prove to be one heck of an event.
That it is, and I mentioned this is race 16, and there's a little bit to get used to here this evening with this XCAL Webshop series, and we plan to have more broadcasts with the series in the fall after some summer availability frees up. So we got to get used to this, Zach, and it's going to be difficult, I think, for us to get used to at first, but you XCAL regulars, you'll get the gist right away. So you're taking a look at the top end of the owner's points after race 15 of 30 this season here in 2024, and looking across, you see a lot of duplicate names because these are car owners for each of these numbers. These owners pay a number of money, a sum of money to get into the series. I believe it's $100 to get in and own a number for the season. And you get the car, you can put whatever driver in at whatever point in time, at least to my understanding. I'm sure I'll learn a lot more after this broadcast. I'm sure Aaron's going to be all over that. But Yeah, so the car owner pays to get the car itself, the car number, into the series, and that's what you're looking at here. So you're looking at really car number point standings, owner's point standings, where Jason Seams is top of the board. Matthew Baer has driven that car recently, and I'll have a graphic for that in a second. But the 81, top of the board by nearly 100 points over Gerald Poole's 91 and 48. Danielle Sargent with the double lot and the 131, fourth and fifth, very close, and then things start to kind of spread out from there. So I mentioned we have a different graphic to kind of visualize this a bit more easily. Here we go. The most recent driver owner's points, if that makes sense. So the most recent driver for each of these cars is listed here. Matthew Baer, most recent driver in the 81 car. Lautaro Lamperti, got to get that name down, there in the second spot with car 91. I believe it'll have a different driver this evening. In fact, it'll be Eddie Jones Jr. behind the wheel of the 91 car tonight. Octavio Rondoletto in the 48, most recent driver there. He will be here this evening. He's actually on pole, 18th pole position, I believe, of his career. Jerry Mogard in the double lot, Ryan Seams in the 131. So it's going to be a big adjustment, especially coming in halfway through the season, but we'll get it down and we'll adjust and we'll learn this XCAL Webshop series, I think, very, very soon, very, very quickly. It's been a pleasure to work with Aaron and everybody at the XCAL racing stable to get this broadcast to even happen and make sure that we could do so without a hitch. We are going to talk to several drivers to get the show going, but first I want to take a look at what we have upcoming here at Pit Stop TV. These are some of the upcoming broadcasts on the channel. This weekend we have Majors 24 coverage from Le Mans. We also have the Icon Cup Series on Sunday night from Sonoma, and next week, in a little over a week, we have the Sarah 18 Racing Media National Tour from the Milwaukee Mile. And Zach, with that in mind, we have a handful of drivers to talk to, and this is actually a new part for us as well, to have these driver interviews in the beginning of our run of show. Usually we do this throughout the race or at the end of the race, but Jason Seams is first up, and we'll grab driver, car owner, I believe. Anyway, driver Jason Seams. Jason, it's good to have you here, first of all, as we begin our, coverage of the XCAL Racing Webshop series. And it sounds like you're back from an absence, so tell us all about it.
I am. Me and my son, Nick, the college kid Seams, who also races, he's not here. We took a little vacation down to Florida, and I missed that last one and had my brother Earl fill in for me. It was a rough start, but it's good to be back.
And of course, it's always difficult to adjust coming right back into a series like that, but even more difficult when you come to the streets of Chicago. How are you going to handle that tonight?
Man, I'm putting up pretty good lap times. I'm starting third, which is my best XCAL start ever, and I'm just looking to try to keep the fenders on this thing. And we got Octavio and King Matthew the Bear, who runs for me, starting in the top two. We're having a good run. We got pretty decent setups.
And real quick, since you're the first driver we're ever talking to here in the XCAL series, tell us about this kind of car ownership deal where a lot of leagues, you really just focus on driver standings. We take a look at owner standings coming into the broadcast. That's different for us. Tell us about it.
It is. It's, we got to purchase the car numbers and find drivers. You have the option to get one to as many vehicles as you want. I cover the entry fees and out of the winnings. Them guys will pay me back the entry fees if they get it. It's tough looking for drivers, as I have a few cars that aren't in this race. Puts a whole different aspect on it, and there's quite a bit more that you need to do.
Well, it's good to talk to you to start the show off, Jason. Best of luck tonight.
Yes, thank you. I just want to reach out, them fans, get some views, and check out the stuff in the web shop, and I also just want to thank all the sponsors with Admin Box, Butt Kicker, JT's Mobiles Pressure Washing, the Sim Racer Hub, Tri-E Cooler Inc., and the Cooler Crew, Austin Edwards for the setups, Flaming Karma Paint Shop, you guys with Pit Stop TV, and just so you know, if you notice this little design on my hood, it's because we have a little rivalry with Jeff Edgar in the number 7. Who owns that team, and if I beat him tonight, then he's going to have to run the Joe Campbell fan club, so I'm looking to finish ahead of him tonight.
Sounds good, Jason. We'll be watching for that between you and the 7 car.
All right, thank you. You guys have a good one.
You as well. Jason Seams, car number 88 this evening. We also, in fact, we have 4 more drivers to talk to, one of them being the driver who kind of leads the point standings, if you will, Matthew Bear, King Matthew the Bear, as you heard Jason refer to him as, driver of the 81 car recently. Matthew, to our understanding, you are darn quick. You're King Matthew the Bear. Why is that?
I mean, for the past 30 weeks, I've been on top of the point standings here in XCAL, and hasn't really been too much of a competition. Octavio's very quick, and I give him all his respect. Me and him will be your 2 best battles tonight, but maybe that's probably only going to be in the first half of the race, realistically, because I'm going to try to do something a little different than him tonight and try to get ahead of him and do something a little different. Hopefully it works out. Who knows? You'll just have to tune in, watch out, and find out what happens. But, I mean, I think we have a really good car tonight. I'm going to be very aggressive right here during the first half of the race till we go to the halfway caution and see what we can do, see how many cars we can put a lap down and put them in a bind and make them try to do something different. And who knows? Maybe we'll get ahead of Octavio and just pull away from him.
And we see Octavio right in front of you on pit lane right now. How has this battle been between you and him? Of course, we take a look mostly at owners' points, but there are incentives for you drivers as well to make sure that these cars finish as high up in the points as possible. What's that battle like from a first-hand perspective?
I mean, it's generally always a very competitive battle for the most part. Overall, we have really good, exciting races. I think me and him have finished door-to-door 3 times for the win this year. I think I've had 6 door-to-door finishes for the win this year, only getting 1 of them, unfortunately. But, you know, that's what keeps you coming back, trying to get that extra couple inches coming across the finish line when it matters the most.
Well, Matthew, thank you for your time. We're going to go right down here in a second and talk to Octavio, but I'm sure you have a few parting words.
Yeah, man, and I just appreciate y'all coming out here on short notice and stepping up for some of the second half races that we're doing. Just give a shout out to the Webshop for everything that they do, help us putting on the race every week. And we're going to go out here and give you a show tonight and give you a reason to come back.
We're looking forward to it. Matthew, best of luck.
Thank you, brother.
And we will go right down pit lane and grab driver of the 48 car, Octavio Rondoletto, one of the longer names that you'll see on the ticker this evening. Octavio, good to see you. Good to talk to you this evening. On top of practice as well by a second and a half. How's that feel?
Hi, Andrew. Hi, Zach. Well, this is a great track to race. I really like street courses. I have been practicing a lot here, and I think we have a good pace. We have to take in mind the race is so long. We have a competition caution in the middle, so we have to maintain the car entirely, and let's see what we can do in the second half.
And how about this championship fight between you and realistically Matthew Bear in that 81 car? I know the focus is on owners' points, but there's incentives for you drivers, and you guys have a lot of skin in the game. How is the fight back and forth between you two?
Oh, we had a lot of fight. Sometimes we had contact with the doors in the end of the races. Today will be difficult because it's a tiny track, but we have to see what we can do. I will be respectful, obviously, but we will have some fights today.
Well, Octavio, like I said, good to talk to you for the first time, and we'll be watching out for you. Clearly, you're fast this evening. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you so much. I want to say thanks to all of the sponsors of the series. At first, Flaming Karma Paint Shop, because I'm racing for them too. Big shout out for Jerry, and Bad Kicker, big Cooler Crew, to Admin Box. Everybody that is supporting this league, that's so important for us, and thank you to you guys for the broadcast today, and I hope to see you in the end.
Absolutely hope to see you a whole lot more. Looks like might be talking to you later on. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
That's Octavio Rondoletto in car 48 this evening. We also have Frank Klein to talk to in that 33 car, so we'll grab Frank, and I think this will be a fun driver to talk to. Frank, of course, we're just getting used to everybody still, but tell us about Eddie Jones Jr. Sounds like might be a little bit of back and forth between you guys.
Aaron was saying that earlier. Honestly, I don't even know who he is. So, I don't know what that's about. I guess years ago we could have raced together, but I don't really have. I don't know. I don't expect to see him much, so whatever.
Well, tell us about yourself then, because we're brand new here to the XCAL Racing Series, and it looks like you've been here for a while. Tell us about yourself and yourself in this series.
So, I came in. Another owner had me fill in for one of his cars. I liked the idea, so I bought 3. Started a team, and we're the outsiders for sure. You know, we don't take any crap, and we're not shy. And you know, that's sort of our attitude. That's why we're 9 Shiza.
Well, Frank, it's good to talk to you. Best of luck this evening. Looks like you're in a pretty good spot, about mid portion of the field here in practice.
Yeah, big qualifying. Got better pace than what we showed in our qualifying, so we'll be all right.
All right, well, it's good to talk to you.
Thanks for coming in, guys. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I'd like to thank Zeem Setup Shop, Nova Glass, 9 Shiza Autosport, CTSV Racing, Polish Mafia, and you guys. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. To the whole series, all of you drivers as well. Frank, best of luck tonight.
Thanks.
And, of course, that means we have to go down and get Eddie Jones, who, well, Frank doesn't know what this Eddie Jones situation is about. I'm sure Eddie Jones will know what this Eddie Jones situation is about. Eddie, you're in the 91 car this evening. First of all, hello. Welcome to Pit Stop TV. Tell us about yourself.
Well, so I had an iRacing name change a little bit ago, and it was Edmund Jones. I'm the owner of Jones Bullshit Racing League on Mondays, and that is where the drama comes from the hack that is Frank Klein. So, essentially, a year and a half ago, the hack decided that he wanted to essentially intentionally wreck the leaders at Martinsville. And he caused a lot of issues, like he has in XCAL as well. He ain't making no friends. And he decided that he wanted to wreck people. Well, we got rid of him, and he's been talking shit ever since.
So definitely some tempers even going into the race before the green flag flies.
No, actually, I mean, I haven't been on track with the guy in a very long time. Any hostility has always been on his side, but I call it how I see it. The guy can't drive, and he wants to say that he isn't going to see me. Well, yeah, I'm starting in the back, and I'll be back up there. I'll get past him.
Well, I guess tell us about yourself then, because you are 9th place in practice so far. It sounds like there's definitely some beef between you and him, but how about you yourself, Eddie Jones, and your performance tonight?
So, this is actually my first XCAL race in over a year. I'm a former owner, former driver. I decided to take an exit from the series last year and deal with other things. The only reason I'm even here is I got asked to do it by Gerald Poole and by Doug Burns in the 17 car. So here we are.
Well, Eddie, good to talk to you before we get this show on the road. Best of luck tonight.
Hey, thank you, buddy.
And that's Eddie Jones Jr., who will be piloting car number 91 this evening. Just like that, Zach, qualifying and heat racing, that happened yesterday and earlier today. That's all sorted out. So we already have the field set to go racing this evening. We are going to go straight to the CC's Business starting grid, where you'll find car number 48 on pole, Octavio Rondoletto. No surprise, fastest in practice, and he is starting from position number 1 alongside Matthew Baer, who put that 81 car top of the board in owner's points. Starting 3rd and 4th, Jason Seams and Sean Andrews in the 04 car. A little deeper in the top 10, how about Brent Mekas in the 66? We know that guy. And Charles Joplin in the 75 car. Ryan Seams, Jose Godinho, that is row number 4. And to round out your 5th row and top 10, Zach, it's Joe Campbell and Jaron Mogard.
Yeah, rolling through the rest of the field right here, we have Earl Zeems and Frank Klein in 11th and 12th, and then continuing on, such a long field here for a street course, J.R. Tanksley and Doug Burns in 13th and 14th here tonight as they start to roll off to take the parade lap around the street course. Jeff Edgar and Albert Hewins in 15th and 16th and 17th and 18th. Your 9th row, DP Riggins and Eddie Jones. And then your 10th row here tonight, 19th and 20th. That's Derek Diericks and Cristino Roca. Oh my goodness.
Cristiano
And then Sean
Rocha, I
Patrick.
believe, yeah.
Thank you. I always struggle with names, and it's crazy because usually my name gets pronounced wrong on broadcast most of the time anyway, so I feel bad a little.
I'm right there with you. We both have a couple of more complicated last names, Cardinali and Murtis. But Zach, this is good.
Cardinila?
Cardinali.
Cardinilo?
Exactly, yeah. That's yeah, exactly my point. But Zach, we have a very, very interesting race ahead of us this evening. 70 laps on this street course, and it's, again, not an easy course to get around. We can take a look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details. There is a yellow at halfway, a competition caution that a couple of these drivers already talked about. We do have a 50% fuel limit. I think that might come into play this evening. We have unlimited tire sets, though, no fast repair, and admin cautions will be thrown as needed if we get to that point in time, if we get to a logjam on one of these straightaways. I don't think it's going to get to that point, but it's good to know that it's available.
Absolutely, and this track, in reality, when I take more looks at it with these beautiful cams from Whiplash SimCams, the corners kind of remind me of Long Beach, if you know what I mean. It's very wide when it comes to the straightaways, but it narrows a lot in the corners, and it's going to make it really difficult for passing opportunities. And then in the same regard, halfway break, that's something we see in something like the NASCAR ARCA series. I don't know why I said NASCAR. ARCA is its own thing, but it's something that we see. You know, a halfway stage break, allow these drivers to put fuel and tires in the car, see what they can do with their race strategy, and really switch things up a little bit.
Well, as we get ready to go racing, these guys are rolling through turns 8, 9, and 10 now. A nice little complex that'll be very difficult to navigate tonight. A big shout out to all of the partners with the series. You see them on your screen. The XCAL Webshop, Admin Box, Butt Kicker, Flaming Karma Paint Shop, which is on a lot of these cars I noticed, and the Tri-E Inc. Cooler Crew. We're going to learn a lot about these partners, I feel like, over the course of our tenure here with the XCAL Racing Series. We'll get these graphics out of the way and get showtime on the road after a big nod to our partners as well with Whiplash SimCam's ATVO and CC's business. The field get around turn number 12 and head down to the green flag this evening. Again, race number 16 of the season for these guys. Race number 1 of our tenure with the XCAL Racing Series. Green flag at Chicago. That was a little anticlimactic. The field is way back there out of turn number 1. Everybody gets through the first corner cleanly, though. Really no drama at all at the start of this race. Everybody getting through nicely. I don't even see much contact back there, but we do have a couple of gaggles down the backstretch for the first time from turn 2 into turn 3, the sweeper Zach, and then turn 4 where things narrow up.
Yeah, things are starting to narrow up a little bit as these guys are trying to work these battles out quickly. We did have one car take to the pit lane on the green flag. I'm not sure why, but for some reason someone ended up heading to the pit lane as you saw them take the green flag. But now everyone's single file. Cars moving around trying to see what moves they can make on lap 1, but I wouldn't make too many moves on these cold tires. They are very, very touchy on these street stock cars.
Jared Mogard to move here on Jose Galindo, or Godinho rather. Got to get that one through my head. Godinho into turn number 6. Frank Klein now going to go by car number 20 as well. Side by side down to the braking zone for turn number 7. Klein around the outside makes that pass complete. Out front, Octavio already through turn 8 and into turn 9, 10, 11 here. Wow, he has pulled away from this field by nearly 2 seconds on lap 1 alone. Matthew Baer has a second back to third. Brent Meckes and then Sean Andrews, Ryan Seams will complete your top 5 on lap number 1. We'll come around the final corner and complete this first lap of racing. First good battle on the racetrack, though, Jared Mogard, Jason Seams.
Yeah, Matthew Baer did say early on in our pre-race interviews that he was only expecting to be contending with Rondeletto, and he has really work that gap out. As we ride on board here with Jared Mogart rolling down the front straightaway. I say front straightaway all the time with road courses, but there's really no front or back stretch, especially with all the city streets there on here with the Chicago street course. But such a flowing street course. I really enjoy. Oh,
One car slow. Derek Dirks in the 11 car turned around in turn 1. He gets back rolling, but he has fallen back now to the 18th position. And you mentioned one car in the pit lane on lap 1. It was J.R. Tanksley in this 25 machine. Oh wow, he has smashed the wall at some point. I wonder if that happened on the pace lap. That certainly would be worthy of pitting. Coming to the green flag.
Big tank slapper on that left front.
Yeah, he hit the wall hard, and then Doug Burns had to start from the pit lane, actually, so his data not going to load on the graphic. He had a penalty, he had to start from the pit lane. But Jared Mogard, Frank Klein, they're going to start to fight, and Frank Klein, rather. Of course, we talked to him with that situation with Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones nowhere to be found, but Frank is up here in the top 10 to start to put some pressure on these cars.
Eddie Jones actually down in the 15th position, so they're separated by about 6 spots at the moment. As we ride on board, we see them rolling through the gears, third gear going through this sweeper section, and I figured that they would be going all the way down into something like second or first gear in a lot of these corners. So to see them still up in high gear, really, it's interesting to me how these setups are working.
Yeah, and of course these guys are able to practice and tune their cars and figure out what gearing is best for them, along with everything else under the hood. Riding on board with Frank Klein, this is a really cool perspective around the racetrack. So that's the start-finish line. He's going to make a move maybe into turn 1, and does make a move there on the double-lot of Jared Mogard. You see maybe a little shot back. Contact in the back, though. Cristiano Rocha goes around, and looks like maybe there was some drama back there, but we stay with this fight because Mogard now drops way back of Frank Klein. And now maybe we can look at the 24 car of Rocha. The car looks clean and pristine, so I think that might have been just a spin, as Cristiano will pass Albert Hewins. That'll be for 18th spot.
Yeah, Hewins was really wide off turn number 1. He might be struggling a little bit with that car, as we see another fight going on right here.
Well, the other half of that Klein-Jones drama, here's Eddie Jones. Position 14, working on DP Riggins. That'll be for 13th position if he can get there. Derek Dirks behind him. And this is also a pretty cool perspective. So this is down the kind of main backstretch from turn 5 to turn 6, redlining all the way down to the braking zone, and Jones right around the inside, nearly clips that inside wall, but makes the pass and now backs the 5 car of Riggins into Derek Dirks, rather, and Dirks going to make the pass in the 11 car.
I don't know if you've noticed it, Andrew, but a lot of things that I'm seeing when it comes to the battles here tonight is the fact of these guys are throwing these cars in here, and then to make sure they don't get a crossover move on them, they just park it on the apex. Absolutely beautiful defensive driving. Not a lot of people like to see it just because they don't agree with it, but hey, you got to do what you got to do to make the passes here sometimes, especially on a road course. You cannot get stuck fighting with someone. You will lose way too much time.
Nice little fight right ahead of here. Earl Seams and Joe Campbell. Haven't talked much about these two drivers, but Campbell in the 63, Seams in the 99. They've been going a little bit back and forth. Campbell now pulling away down the front stretch, and Seams starts to fall back. And these guys are in a nice little train here as well. You don't see many cars packed up this evening, but 4 cars here in a fight from Campbell through Seams, Jones, and Dirks. 4 cars fighting for position. This is 11th through 14th spot.
Yeah, really, to me, any fighting on the racetrack is great to see. It was a nice little battle as I think Jones there almost tagged the wall as they started to separate just a little bit, now separating into a bit more of a 3-car tandem right now, just trying to find their footing. And this is probably, I think, the closest battle on the racetrack.
Whoa!
You can see some defensive driving of the 99, it seems, and that's going to allow the 11 to get side by side. Now they're going to take the run up the hill and down into the next corner.
On to Michigan Ave they go, and the 91 of Eddie Jones has to give that spot up to Derek Dirks, who made one heck of a break into turn 6. That was incredible stuff from the 11 car. I did not think that move was going to stick. That was even around the outside as well. Got position on Jones and pulled away. That was really impressive stuff.
I can't tell if it's how the cars are hitting the asphalt or if they just tagged the wall back there, but I saw both those cars do a little puff of smoke going through the left-hander. And oh, look at this right here coming onto the front stretch. Now they're side by side. Seams did not get a good run. He almost ran into the back of Campbell, and that's going to allow Dirks here to get a good run.
Oh, Seams a little early to the brakes. Dirks a little later to the brakes, and Seams almost overshoots the apex. Dirks sits back now, and he's got the 91 of Eddie Jones to worry about at this point down to turn number 2. Jones pulls right up, a little bit of pressure. That's okay, that's healthy. And they get through the second corner and on to the first of, I'll say, 2 backstretches here at Chicago. If we pull up the track map one more time, I feel like there's 2 backstretches. Lakeshore Drive, South Lakeshore Drive, which we're on, into turn 3, now turn 4, onto the very short portion of East Roosevelt Road, and then through turn 5 now onto South Columbus Drive. This, I feel like, is the main backstretch, but that Lakeshore Drive section also feels like a backstretch.
I think the one thing throwing me off when it comes to the track map, Andrew, is that when you see our beautiful graphics here on Pitstop TV, usually the corners are labeled. It's the corners that have the names, whereas the streets have the names here, as we got one car around.
Jeff Edgar in the background there in car number 7. That was close. And now we'll have Albert Hewins to worry about 5 more seconds pulling up.
Looks like he's got some space. Get it back rolling, straighten up, and just in the nick of time, Edgar gets that car rolling once again, just to avoid no calamity in the corner.
Well, back up front, nearly inside the top 10. Joe Campbell still over Derek Dirks, and Earl Seams and then Derek Dirks. And Eddie Jones is starting to fall back in this fight. You also see DP Riggins in the vicinity. Meanwhile, Ryan Seams is under fire from Charles Joplin. This is much further forward in the race, 5th and 6th positions as Frank Klein tags the outside wall at a turn 2. Joplin's starting to put that pressure onto the 75 car, but you can see he has definitely been in the wall at some point. There is some right front damage on this car.
Yeah, definitely might have taken just a corner a little too short or tagged the wall on corner exit, anything like that that could really upset the car. But hey, these street stocks have the new iRacing damage model. They are fully integrated with all of the new templates, and these cars can and will take a beating.
Tommy circling the damage there on the Joplin machine. He chases Ryan Seams again for the top 5. And everybody in the top 5 is very much spaced out. You can see it on the ticker on the left side there of the screen. 5 seconds between Rondoletto and Bear, and Joplin gets the wall there on the left side this time. 4 seconds between Bear and Mekas, another 3 between Mekas and Andrews, 5 between Andrews and Seams, where we find this fight with Seams under fire from Joplin, but the threat seeming to dissipate at this point in time as Joplin made a couple of slip-ups in that lap.
Yeah, Seams also hit the wall a little bit, as you saw, after he got a little loose, and you see Joplin is opening up these corners a lot more to get the car rotated, and he's getting a lot better runs going down these straightaways.
So these guys continue to go after it a little further back. How about this fight? Derek Dirks now advantage on Joe Campbell, finally going to get by, and that 11 car is now free. There goes the 99 of Seams. He goes by the 63 car, and Joe Campbell suddenly being swallowed up by this swath of cars. Here comes Eddie Jones on the right side.
Yeah, side by side going down past the start finish line into turn 1. Heavy braking zone. So we've got another fight almost 3 wide. This is just on the outskirts of the top 10.
This is what we were just watching. Jason Seams now passing Ryan Seams in the 131. He got the wall pretty good, it looks like. He was defending, if you recall, just a few moments ago in the 5th spot. So Charles Joplin goes by, and now Frank Klein puts pressure on the 131. We'll see what happened here in a replay for that pass to take place. This is turn 1. That's just textbook, Zach. He just pulled out, got position, then down to turn 2. And a little less textbook because Ryan Seams goes all the way over the racetrack there, and then, a little Verstappen to that Hamilton.
That's a little bit more than textbook there, Andrew. That's running him completely out of space. And there's no runoff here that you can just force a driver off track. You're running him right to the wall.
So on board with Ryan Seams, this really is an F1 move. So the 75 of Joplin pulls up the inside, and Seams gets him back clear. Is going to move back over here, get positioned into the corner, snags the wall, and then here comes Joplin over to just kind of clear himself and put Seams in the wall. Now that works a lot better when you've got runoff, to not smash the other driver into the fence, but right there, that was definitely on the edge, I feel like, of being a little less driver-friendly, as Frank Klein now gets by the other Seams, Jason Seams, and both of those Seams drivers are falling back now to the 7th and 8th spot.
Bear with me on this one, Andrew. they say road racing in and of itself is a discipline, but I think street racing is a different discipline entirely from standard road racing. And you can see it really with the battles that we've had on track tonight.
Yeah, I would agree. Street racing is very different from normal road racing. You don't have that runoff. Unless you go to Detroit, there's a little bit of runoff there at Belle Isle. You just don't have runoff here to use, whether it's to go a little off track when you need to, if you just run out of room, or if you need to run somebody towards the fence like we just saw from Joplin and Seams. There is just not that kind of room like you have on other road courses. So things definitely different, as now the 17 of Doug Burns is lapped by the field here. And oh, that got narrow down at turn 7.
That got very narrow. Did not expect them to make it through there cleanly. But hey, it all worked out, and now we've got more fights on the racetrack. We see, well, Dirk's trying to hang on to what is a top 10 position at the moment.
He just got that top 10 position by going by this 20 car of Jose Godinho and moves the 20 back out of the top 10. So changes all throughout the field, just not in the top 4. They have stayed stagnant since the start of this race. Mekas and Andrews holding their starting positions even. But here we go. That's Earl Seams right on the back end of Eddie Jones. I don't think these guys are done.
Maybe not, as we got to move right behind them. Little send going into the corner, but it's all going to pay off for the 24 car of Roca, as he is taking the spot away, really. He is well and clear going into turn 1.
So a pass made there by Rocha. He goes by and will now put pursuit on Joe Campbell on the 63 car on board here. And I really do love this course. I know this has been very controversial to a lot of NASCAR fans, even drivers. Why are we going street racing? Well, at the very least, even if it isn't all that long-lived in the city of Chicago, this has really produced a really fun iRacing track. It sets up for really cool passes. You've got long straights to set those passes up, and really difficult corners to navigate. Those 90-degree corners are not exactly friendly to stock cars, and I think the street stock is, oddly enough, slightly more nimble and a little more I guess, apt to get around these corners, but it's still a challenge, and definitely forces you to put your driving shoes on.
Absolutely. This course was incredibly challenging, and to see someone like SVG come up and show these guys how to do it, we had a little puff of smoke, and now we've got a fight going in to 9, 10, and 11, and they're really going at it right here, Andrew. This is just outside the top 10 like we were talking about earlier.
It was Eddie Jones Jr. who got the fence, it looks like, and grabs the fence there at Apex. Had a puff of smoke. I don't know if that was just from the wall or if that was also a bit of a slide or spin for Eddie Jones, but he's in 12th and had that moment. A little further back now, pass there. Joe Campbell falls behind the 24 car, who's on a sudden streak of passes. 2 in the last 2 laps, both in turn 12. And Rocha, boy, moving forward in this 24 car up to 14th.
Seems to be his favorite corner, really, if he's making passes like that. Look at the closing rate going into turn 1 to catch up to Seams right here in the 99 car. Kind of coming off the apex just a little bit. I've been noticing a lot with some of these drivers. They're not really going all the way to the apex, and can you really blame them when a few of them are cutting it a little short? Don't want to risk that car, especially when you have no fast fixes right now.
As we watch along here on lap 10 of 70, make sure to follow along with Pit Stop TV, especially since all of you are new for the most part, new from the XCAL Racing Series watching along. Make sure to follow us on everywhere on the internet. pitstoptv.com, facebook.com/pitstoptv, and all of those links at the bottom of your screen. Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and X. We're broadcasting this evening, as always, to Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and X. You can follow along with our adventures. There's a lot of broadcasting happening this weekend, so if you're into racing at all, especially road racing, as Eddie Jones has another problem in turn 7, and this one might be terminal. If you're into road racing at all, you'll enjoy what we have this weekend. We've got the Majors 24 from Le Mans and the Icon Cup Series as they go to Sonoma this Sunday evening. So plenty of road racing to go around to kind of piggyback off of this evening's festivities here at Chicago. But big problems for car 91, Eddie Jones. Looks like he got the fence a ton that time in turn 7, second lap in a row, as Cristiano makes a move there in turn 12 again. That is 3 laps in a row. He's made 3 passes in that corner.
Yeah, even 4, really, if you count the fact that they got by Eddie Jones, who's still struggling with that left side damage. So Rocha on a move right now. He's definitely moving through the field, and he's got some pace, just trying to see what he can do before the halfway break.
Inside the helmet here with Eddie Jones Jr. Down to turn 7. It's a little deep. He just got in deep. Boom,
Yeah,
wall.
Missed the braking point right there. Definitely going to affect the car heavily. You might have some problems in the left-hand corners moving forward, but should hopefully be good as they get a halfway break, so he'll be able to take that car to the pit lane and get it all serviced. Hopefully still be contending for a top 10 by the end of the night.
This is on board with him, and the car looks okay, honestly. I'm shocked. I really thought he was going to have some wheel damage out of that, particularly there on the left front corner of the car, and no challenge from behind. Campbell well back, so things kind of mellowing out there. Meanwhile, Frank Klein and Jason Seams start to fight. This is for the 6th position with Ryan Seams in tow, kind of moving around, ducking around a little bit. And looks like the 17 there as well, lapped car.
Told you these cars can take a beating. They will go through the ringer and still be able to hang on, do everything they can, as watching them all come out of turn number 12. Such a beautiful shot, seeing Klein come down the front straightaway, past the start-finish line into 1. Still about 5 seconds off of the nearest car in top 5, but we go again. It's a fight for, I believe, 11th.
That makes the pass complete again for Rocha in 12th now. Jose Godino about 4 seconds up the road. This fight not done as they kind of jockey into turn 1. Earl Seams backs off the 24 car now. We were watching 6th with Frank Klein and Jason Seams. Will go back up to this fight as they lap the 7 car of Jeff Edgar, who of course had that problem in turn 6 not so long ago. Lap 12 now. We can go on board with Jason Seams and watch this fight firsthand. This is for 6th position. This is the first fight on the racetrack.
Yeah, 2 closest cars on the racetrack right now, and they've definitely been hanging with each other at the moment, not really letting one another drive too far away. Seams has been super close the entire time, and then you've got Klein, who's been trying to make sure he hits his marks, and he's been doing a very good job at it. Still hanging on to that 6th place. Is see the 131 back here, see the other Seams, and Dirks going at it for 7th and 8th.
I really like what Dirks is doing here. He has gone from the back to nearly the front. Started 19th position, and he's worked all the way up to 8th now, getting by Ryan Seams under this lap. He is really making some headway. Meanwhile, Eddie Jones Jr. contact there with Earl Seams as they work through turn 9. That's always a very scary area here at Chicago. Very tough to get around that set of corners. It's kind of that carousel portion at the very back end of the course. From turn 8 through turn 10, you just have that big bend around turn 9. And here we go. This might be an opportunity for Seams to get back at Eddie Jones. Will he? The answer is no.
Well, he took a wider arc to be able to set his run up for the straightaway. I don't think he'll have enough to make a move going into turn number 1. It looks like they're all going to stay single file going into 1. And look at Jones so deep on. Oh, we had one car in the middle of the road right there, throwing everybody off.
That might have been Doug Burns.
He was 3 laps down. I assumed he had taken it to the pit lane.
Well, let's take a look here. And it was Doug Burns, I can confirm that much, being lapped there by the 20 car of Godinho, who has now fallen back to 12th position behind Christopher Rocha. I think as a result of this, yeah, Burns just missed turn 1, got into that 20 car, and whoa, right in front of that bunch of drivers. I was looking at another monitor, I was looking at timing and scoring when that happened, and I came back right in the middle of it. That was scary.
Yeah, that was really, really scary. I didn't think they were going to be able to make it through, especially since Burns closed in right on the apex. So very, very close for those drivers, but glad everyone made it through.
On board now with DP Riggins in 15th spot. Looking up ahead, Earl Seams, Joe Campbell behind in one car, a little bit of a puff of smoke. It was Eddie Jones again at 91. He was quick early in this race. He's starting to really falter now as these laps wear on. He's smoking the outside wall here, smoking the outside wall there, and just really beating this 91 up.
Yeah, he's gotten so much more damage onto that car.
It's looking almost like a
right
Nissan Delta Wing at this point with how much he's narrowed the front of the car up.
Oh, the Delta Wing. What a beautiful car and somewhat dangerous car.
Was it though? Was it really? It was definitely a sports car, I'll say that.
It was a sports car for as long as it was around, which is not at all anymore. But I can see where you're going with the Delta Wing. It's getting there. It's not there yet, but it's getting there as they're fighting right behind Eddie Jones Jr., trying to see what they can do for the 14th position. Still, one of the closest fights on the racetrack at the moment.
And I love that these guys are used to running on ovals, short ovals, as now J.R. Tanksley is around. This is at a turn 6, so not so far ahead of the group we were just watching. But I love that these guys are all oval drivers, short oval drivers, and they're here at Chicago this evening, of all places. I don't know who made that choice to punish these guys. I don't know what kind of bad karma they have going for them, but this is definitely a very punishing circuit, and it looks like this spin might be from contact with Edgar, and it is. Jeff Edgar just nudges Tanksley around.
Even just a slight miscontact is always able to upset these street stocks. Even, like you said, running on a short oval, it's so easy for these cars to get the rear ends upset. They operate kind of like a Generation 4 NASCAR stock car. The rear ends and the front ends don't exactly match up, so it's very easy to get the light ends, or to get the car light on the ends. And you see on board here with Edgar, this is just a little bit beforehand, right here. Yeah, just upsets the rear end of the car.
And that allowed Dirks to go by. We'll get one more replay from the perspective of J.R. Tanksley's machine. This is going to be the contact through turn 6, or turn 5 rather. Just that little bit from that Camaro Z28, and that tips him right around. Now, he has recovered. He's got back on the racetrack, is in position number 20, though, and has lost a lot of time. In fact, 9 seconds to Edgar, and is the final car that is running on the racetrack at this point in time. Oh, a shot there to Godino as he goes by. And now we'll move over for Eddie Jones Jr. So these guys definitely have a few different scores it looks like they want to settle this evening. Not just Frank Klein and Eddie Jones Jr., but I digress. We move back forward to the top 6. This is Jason Seams working on Frank Klein.
Yeah, and only a third of the way through the first half of this race, and so many interesting storylines still going on. Klein hanging on to that 6th place position. He's dropped another 5 seconds behind Joplin in the 75, so that is a full 10-second gap up to 5th. With them so close together, they cannot afford to keep fighting. I would assume you would want the track position before the halfway break to set yourself up for the second half of the race. Save your stuff. Even though you're going to have a pit stop opportunity, it's probably a lot more beneficial to have the track position now rather than later.
And we don't know the exact fuel situation for these guys when they come around and complete the first half of this race and get to our halfway break, but I'd have to imagine these guys will come in for fuel and probably take some tires as well. They've got the time here. It's rare that you have time to pit in a street stock and actually get 4 tires, but you can do that here comfortably under a caution period. So I wonder if that might be what these guys end up doing. I certainly would want new tires on my car. I know these street stock tires can warm up pretty quick and start to become useless very, very quickly.
Yeah, street stock pit stop on average is around 22 seconds, if I remember correctly, from our LMS days of broadcasting.
Well, and that was with their fuel load, which I think was full. And they were open setup, so they actually could choose how much fuel they wanted to put in the car. So it might be a little different for these guys running half fuel. As here's a move from Eddie Jones back on Jose Godinho. And Eddie actually just now getting by the 20 car. Eddie has, again, had a lot of troubles here and there, as now Albert Hewins was slow. He gives up a spot, there we go, to Jeff Edgar.
Yeah, so many different storylines throughout the field with these guys fighting all over the place. But the one thing that we really haven't done most of the time is focus on the leader, because the leader is almost a full 20 seconds out in front of this field.
Yeah, it's really impressive what he's done, and the car is absolutely clean and pristine. Not a scratch on the 48 car yet. I'll knock on wood for him a little bit, but close to the wall there at a turn 6, yeah. But as we hit halfway here in the first half of this race, that 48 looks good.
About to hit that 20-second mark, about half a second away as he's coming up to lap the next car. That's Patrick in the 2. He's the next car up the road to go 1 lap down, and then we start getting closer and closer to our leader lapping into the top 15.
After Patrick, it would be Earl Seams, who's only, well, 14 seconds up the road from Sean Patrick, so that's a little ways, but Octavio Rondoleno going to make that pass here soon, I would say, and there's the 81 car in second place. He's been in the wall a time or two, but that's okay at a street course. Matthew Baer in the 81 car, especially this street stock, it can take a couple of impacts the outside wall. I wouldn't say it could take as many impacts as we've seen for Eddie Jones, but you can definitely tag the wall here and there, and you'll be okay as we take a look now at Brent Meckes. And you mentioned the LMS Street Stock Series back over the winter. Brent ran a bunch of those races, particularly on ovals, and I wonder if tonight he's kicking himself, wishing he would have run more of those road courses and been a little more apt maybe to pick up. I miss. I enjoyed the racing that Brent Meckes and that group were able to do in that LMS series. I'm glad to see him here in XCAL and finally talking about him again.
Absolutely. Always great to see these drivers branching out, doing more here tonight, and these street stocks are they're great cars, really, Andrew. You know, they're entry level for the iRacing sim. They're something that teaches you a lot of throttle control, as I'm pretty sure Eddie Jones Jr. might have had another incident. There was some smoke back there out of 11, but
yeah, it looks that way. I don't think it was turn 11, but he gets the wall there in turn 10. But you're right, he lost a position. It looks like, well, he might not have lost a spot, actually. There was a slow car here, though. That's the 55 being lapped. That is Albert Hewins. Maybe that's what tripped timing and scoring up, but
I assume there was some passing going on there just because of the gaggle of cars we saw coming out of turn 12.
There's a pass about to happen here. Jason C is being passed up by Derek Dirks. Pass made in turn 3 right there through the sweeper and down to turn number 4. Heavy braking zone right around this little kind of mini corner and into turn number 5. Another braking zone, kind of a coast zone if you can. If you can just kind of pitch the nose just right, you can kind of coast around turn 5 and get back on the power early, but it takes a lot of finesse.
Yeah, Dirks has done a really good job of being able to hang on to this car. He's not done really a lot of tire sliding. He's been keeping a cool head, and now he's catching up, putting himself closer and closer to a top 5, and you can see his hands inside of this onboard cam. Right over by the ticker, you see him, steady movements, not really a lot of play. I mean, you saw a little play going through that corner right there, but he's been doing a really good job hanging on to this thing and keeping the tires cool from the looks of it with how he's been driving.
We stay on board here at Derek Dirks. And I'm going off of the pronunciation of Dirks Bentley. It's close. Just an extra E in here, I think, for Derek Dirks' last name. That's why I go with Dirks, as opposed to another pronunciation. I very well could be wrong, but that makes the most sense in my head as Derek works here on position number 6. Actually, pass made because Sean Andrews is in the pit lane here in car number 04 taking service. This is the first pit stop that we've seen of the evening for a driver that seems to be coming in for a scheduled stop. Here's Eddie Jones Jr. as well. So, Zach, we're looking at a fuel window of about 18 to 20 laps, apparently.
Which means they will have to stop one more time before the end of the stage.
No, they'll be good to lap 35.
I don't know why I thought lap 45 was the halfway point. Oh my goodness. 45 is half of, what is it, 90?
90.
Oh my goodness. Well, folks, you learned tonight that your very own Zach Murtis is very bad at math, as Sean Andrews is still in the pit lane. He's been there for almost a full minute now.
He could have been speeding.
That is very true.
Eddie Jones Jr. sitting there for a while as well. Could be
just how long these stops are taking with the fuel.
Or repairs.
They could be taking repairs as well. But taking a look now, they are actually laps down now compared to the leader. Eddie Jones out of the pit lane. I believe he spent about maybe, 46 seconds in the pit lane. So he's out and away now. And
You know what,
might actually
Zach?
have been beating.
There's 3 waiver rounds. 3 waiver rounds that these guys get at the halfway break. Maybe if Eddie Jones feels like he can stay in the top 3 of those lapped drivers, he feels like he can get that waiver round back, take these repairs now, get back on the racetrack. And for Sean Andrews, I'm not sure of the strategy. He has been there for a long time.
Looks like he is fixing damage right now. I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm not sure what the strategy call is here because he is now 4th out of those 3 cars that would get their laps back at the end of the stage.
Whoa,
And
car sliding. Cristiano Rocha right in front of pit lane, right through turn number 1. A problem there for the 24 car. He will drop into the 10th spot. I believe he had just taken over 9th, and it's going to be an errant downshift here for car 24. Take a look at this. Yeah, he had just gone by Jared Mogard in the double lot. Down to turn 1 here. Watch this. Downshift there, and it just wheel hops the rear, turns him right around, and there goes Mogard back for 6th, or 9th.
Hey,
rather.
at least he got it back going real quick. Nothing to hold anybody up. Did a good job of getting it woed up so he wouldn't lose too much. Really just a stellar job right there to keep it rolling as Andrews is finally back out onto the racetrack. He spent just over 2 minutes in the pit lane. That is quite a long time to get some damage fixed. And, well, hopefully he's still putting himself in position to get those laps back.
And here's the race leader, Octavio Rondoletto, coming right up on this mess through turn 6. Gets by, I believe that was Doug Burns he just passed. Now he's got to get through Sean Andrews in the 04, who was up towards the front, was running 4th when he pitted. And he has to get by, I believe that's Joe Campbell. Yeah, Joe Campbell on the 63. Gets by Andrews, no problem. Still has to get by the next car as Andrews now goes 2 laps down.
I don't think Andrews may be worried as much as I think he is because Rondoletto still has to pit. So
True.
That's going to put Andrews back 1 lap down, and that's going to put a lot of these guys who are 1 lap down back up towards the lead lap as we see the 11 here of Dirks on the pit lane. He's got quite a bit more left side damage than I figured he would.
There's Jose Godinho in the pit lane as well. He actually passes Derek Dirks in the pits.
And right
And
there off of turn 12 as well. Not sure if somebody was trying to make it to the pit lane.
we actually have a fight at the very back of the field, 2 laps down for each of these drivers. J.R. Tanksley putting pressure on Albert Hewins. This is for 18th and 19th on the racetrack, but a battle certainly worth taking a look at this point in time as Tanksley kind of just nudges the car around turn 2. Looks like he's having some trouble. He's got a lot of damage to the left side. I'd imagine that's probably having some handling concerns, handling issues for car 25 as, meanwhile, DP Riggins putting pressure on Jared Mogard for 9th.
Now, Andrew, this starts to make me think a little bit more. What would be the better strategy call? To take this damage repair and put yourself in a position where you could end up being one of the cars that are 1 lap down and you get your laps back, or wait until the caution that will more than likely come out at the halfway break and take the damage repair then, where a full course yellow would allow you to fix more damage over the course of the lap.
I would certainly say you always want to spend as little time on pit lane as possible. Very simply, as Mogard goes to the pit lane and DP Riggins will stay on the racetrack. Ryan Seams also in the pits this time. In fact, here is Ryan Seams on the pit lane, coming right into his box. And Mogard will follow, but I'm definitely of the ideology that you always want to spend as little time on pit lane as possible, and that very much comes from my sports car racing experience and the broadcast experience that we have with the North American Racing League. That's coming back here in the summer of 2024. You want to spend as little time on the pit lane as possible, get straight back on the racetrack as quickly as you can, and I think, again, that mentality, I think, takes over here for these guys. Just like any other kind of road course racing or even oval racing, as little time in the pits as possible.
Absolutely. I share your sentiment. I would rather spend as little time in the pit lane as possible, take the damage repair, under the caution flag as we see Brent Meckes in the pit lane now in that 66. He started 5th on the night. He's been doing a really good job, and now it looks like he's taking a strategy call. And I think our fuel window is a little bit more different than we were expecting. I feel like these drivers could go 25 laps from the looks of it, but it seems like a lot are starting to take to the pit lane.
Well, especially if you save fuel or short shift or don't downshift as far, you can save a bit of fuel in each one of these corners. But certainly it looks like the fuel window opened up at about 18 laps and extends at least to 23, if not 25 laps, as you see Meckes in the pit lane. And yep, Frank Klein comes in, Jason Seams will follow. And it seems like this is the money lap for a lot of these guys. Cristiano Rocha will also come in. DP Riggins will stay on the racetrack. Joe Campbell in the meantime is a little further back, 1 lap down. Matthew Bear doesn't come in just yet. Here comes our leader. So 24 laps.
Now let's start to see who starts to get their laps back here with just over 10 laps to go left in this stage. And if you're Matthew Bear, do you think stay out, take a lap, or do you think pit with the leader?
Depends on the fuel you've got. As Matthew Bear comes around the final corner, he's going to woe it down and crank the wheel. Oh, man. I think he forgot where pit lane was for a second, but gets into the pits. Octavio Rondoletto taking service. My question is how long he stays in the pit lane. You see the lineup behind him. Jason Seams, I see Charles Joplin, I see Frank Klein, I see Cristiano Rocha, and I see Matthew Bear working down the pit lane. There goes Charles Joplin as Rondoletto drops off the right side jack. They are packing these cars full of fuel, Zach, which must be more than what we thought at about 22 seconds or so. I want to say the LMS series ran at about a 70% fuel cap, so these guys have a long ways to go for fuel.
Well, then that kind of opens things up for strategy, of course. Do you do a 2-stop strategy by pitting on 24 or on 23, 46, and then rolling the dice the rest of the way to the end? Or do you pit now, put fuel in the car enough to make it to the end of the stage, and do a 2-stop in the next stage?
I would definitely stay out if I feel like I can get myself through the break and to the end of this race. It's very close, and I don't think any of these guys, well, if this was a 75-lap race, you'd want to make it a 25, so they're right on the edge. At 23, you can get to lap 69. As Eddie Jones misses turn 7 again, he's having struggles there. I think he's just coming down the hill and getting a little optimistic for sure as DP Riggins finally comes in.
I feel like they've got to be able to stretch the fuel just a little bit further because they had the fuel to make it to cross the line, so they made it to lap 24. 24, 48, that would put 23 laps to the end.
Well, they get to lap 24, but they're completing 23 laps.
That is true.
Now, they did have the pace lap, so it's an extra lap, but that's not a full lap. It depends on how much fuel they had when they came into the box. It's close. Very, very close. You could stay out and, of course, save and try to get an extra couple of laps that way, under the caution. So there is that strategy. I think there's a lot of weight to that strategy of staying out at the halfway break and saving fuel.
Always differing possibilities as we rejoin with our leader, Rondoletto, who has extended his lead over Matthew Bear by quite a considerable margin, 26 seconds. And this is Eddie Jones now fighting to see what he can do with this car still, as it starts to resemble the Delta Wing a little bit more than we were expecting.
Yeah, Eddie Jones having some struggles, but working here on Charles Joplin. Gotta say, he's quite a ways up and he's already pitted, but he was one of the quickest on the pit lane, grabs the wall there. So I wonder if all of those other drivers are planning to do what we're talking about, Zach, stay out at the halfway break, and Eddie Jones is simply not planning to do that because he was only on the pit lane for 46 seconds. Everybody else in this field, aside from Cristiano Rocha and Jeff Edgar and Sean Patrick, have been on the pit lane for far longer. In fact, over 1 minute for each of them. So I definitely think those drivers are playing the idea of staying out at the halfway break and stretching fuel to make it a 2-stop race total. I think Eddie Jones is playing the opposite strategy and is going to pit here when the stage, as you say, ends.
Well, the merit is still there for different strategies because you could do the fuel run and keep the car out, but you could pit under the stage brake and put tires on it, as Eddie Jones is now blowing through a few of these corners and really struggling. And I mean, that's where I'm starting to pull in for tires. You would think these cars, as they roll on, the tires would start wearing and tearing, and well, even so, he's on new tires. So you gotta think the strategy could still play in the favor of staying out, but in the same instance, you could just not take fuel, come in and take tires.
Another car in the pit lane. This is JR Tanksley actually commenting on the YouTube chat saying that he's got the wall and has a lot of damage to fix apparently, and you can see he's definitely got the wall with the left side of that car. Let's go back and actually hold on. Jose Godinho out of turn 1 was just doing negative 20 miles per hour. He was actually going against the flow of traffic by 20 miles per hour is what that means, and had a big problem here. So we'll check out Jose's problem first. This down in the first corner. Just over-rotated on exit. Had too much wheel in the car.
Yeah. Usually happens when you get on the throttle a little too quickly and does a little donut, gets it back rolling, and seems like he's all good.
One more look back at it. I'll tell you what, this is definitely a test of endurance, Zach. We're only through 25 laps.
You say only as if there's not more racing left to run.
Well, that's exactly why I say only. We're only through 25 laps. It has been what it's already felt like an endurance race, and they still have 45 to go. Oh boy.
Tanksley. Oh no, looks like there wasn't even any wheel in that car.
Did you see Dirks right there?
I did. Look at Tanksley. That left front is destroyed. It looks flat. It's not flat. It's just disconnected. Maybe a broken tire.
Boom, right there, turn 4.
No. And this is where it all starts. No turn in right here. Trying to get it rotated, get it back to the pit lane. I can respect the hustle of trying to get it back, but it looks like he ended up, oh no, he's just having a few connectivity issues right there. Something wrong with the hardware, and
look at him try to keep driving in here. I'm impressed.
I would not be trying to get it up to race pace going through these corners, because that's just going to hurt you even more. Obviously,
you can see the whole wheel bobbling into the braking zone.
It's just getting up to race pace. It makes your cornering harder. Just watch it here. This is where the other wall impact comes in.
Nothing.
Right there. Nothing.
No contact there. That was impressive to not hit the wall. Here comes Charles Joplin, then Eddie Jones Jr. Now he gets out of the way quickly. These guys roll by in turn 9. But then it's going to be down here in turn 10 where he gets the wall a ton. He picks up some speed through the left-hander, turns back to the right, and the car goes absolutely nowhere, and pow! I'm loving it. Well, he's not.
Not paid promotion by McDonald's in any way, shape, or form. Of course, McDonald's would be pretty good right about now.
I could go for a McDubby. I'm surprised you're not questioning that.
Maybe you'll be able to get your McDubby soon, but right now, you're going to have to wait until we hit 70 laps of racing to be done, as Tanksley finally makes it to the pit lane. Reminiscent of Matthew Baird trying to crank that wheel into the pit lane on his green flag stop, and now Tanksley just trying to get that damage fixed, hopefully able to get back on the racetrack soon. Multiple laps down as we come back into the frame. Patrick and, looks like the 20 here of Godinho is taking it back to the pit lane.
Might not have got it completely full the first time. He was just on the pit lane about 5 laps ago. That said, Zach, he could come in and top off really quick, go back out, and not lose a whole lot. He is going to lose position to Joe Campbell. It looks like he will stay 1 lap down unless one of those drivers pits. There goes Sean Andrews as well.
Yeah,
but
he'll definitely lose position to Sean Andrews here, and I don't think he's going to be able to get the free pass or wave around on the next caution.
No, but he can at least put himself at the top of the list of drivers 1 lap down. There he
That's a
goes.
tall
So
list.
he tops off. Where's the leader here? Will he go 2 laps down? No, Octavio's on the far end of the racetrack from Jose. So that's going to work out in that regard, as now you see Jared Mogard 1 lap down on the double lot. So that means the leader, Octavio Rondoletto, has lapped up through 12th position, up to 11th. So DP Riggins, the next car on his list, 5 seconds up the road and closing.
He's just got to make it, what, 7, 8 more laps to be able to not go a lap down. And you see Klein there making a move past Rocha for the 7th place position.
I think it's the other way around. I think Klein is defending.
You might just be right.
We stay on board here with Cristiano Rocha, who is now checking up big time. Might actually be the other way around. It might be, as you said, Rocha getting passed up. He might have got the wall hard and damaged that car, because he is losing a lot of time, especially in the left-hand corner there. Lost a lot of time to Frank Klein. And we're talking about now 1.4 seconds lost to that 33 car. That is a big gap. And you see Kayla Rondeau, she must have heard over the grapevine that we were talking about McDubby's, Zach, because she chimes in on YouTube now. And, of course, she's under the same roof here. I don't know if she heard it on the broadcast or heard it from me personally from the other room, but yes, McDubby's. Kayla, there is a stretch of McDonald's branding that we're about to go through here that makes me very hungry each time we go through it. So here goes Rocha. There you see the McDonald's logo's all over the walls and whatnot. Ryan Seams, this is actually a fight for position. These 3 cars. Rocha backs up to Ryan and Jason Seams here, and we're going to have a nice little fight.
Yeah, I think Rocha wanted a McDubby too, because he tagged the wall going after turn 11, and now he's getting very loose as both the Seams are coming into frame, trying to see if they can make some moves. And Kayla, I will happily, next time I see you guys, bring you some McDubbies if that's what you would like.
2 McDubbies and a large fry. Only ketchup.
Absolutely.
Only ketchup on the McDoubles.
I can respect it. What about the little dude?
That always depends. But McDubby Alley, I like it. McDubby Alley, or the just the McDonald's drive-through. Either way, but we'll get back to the race here. Jason Seams, I'm surprised, has fallen well through the order here, down to the 10th position after starting 3rd. Zach, this is, I said earlier that Brent Mekas had retained his starting position. No, Jason started 3rd. Brent Mekas, I believe, started 4th or 5th.
5th place.
5th, yeah. So this is a big slide for the 88 car.
Yeah, he's definitely gone down the running order, and we thought he was going to be a lot more in contention tonight, and he definitely talked himself up in his pre-race interview. As, woo, the 131 tags the wall with the right rear quarter panel, and just unexpected out of the 88. Definitely would have expected him to be a little bit more up on the running order, but hey, we've got about 6 laps until our stage break, and there's still time for a recovery drive, especially. So maybe considering this also plays into the strategy talk, Andrew. Considering the fact that everyone behind him is a lap down, he could go in, top off on fuel, take tires, and not lose any track position.
Well, he would go 1 lap down. I don't know if you want to do that right now.
No,
okay. I thought you meant now. Yeah.
No.
These guys are actually next up on Octavio's list of lapping.
But hey, they've got quite a considerable gap. They've still got about, average lap is about 135 right now. I think that's Octavio's fastest lap, so that would put them about 14 seconds away with still 5 laps to go before our halfway break. I think they're well in the clear. But they are rolling up on Klein right now, who has started to drop back a little bit as well.
Yeah, Frank Klein going the southern direction at this point in the race. You see the 55 there of Albert Hewins in the foreground. They make it through turn 4. Whoa, that's a big contact for the 24 car. The 131 followed him, but not nearly as stiffly. That was a big hit for the 24 of Rocha. He now defends down the backstretch, pulling that draft off of Hewins. We might have a pass setting up here. Problems, Jeff Edgar. Oh, not problems, but into the pit lane anyways, as Ryan Seams has no pass.
Yeah, they both just followed each other into the wall. It's one common mistake you see a lot in racing, is that you follow the driver who has been faster than you. You know you're faster than him by following his line.
Target fixation, they call it.
Pretty much. You I learned it in go-karting, and because you pretty much just got glued to their bumper, and that's the only thing you focus on. It's the only thing you look at. You don't see anything else but the bumper. Sometimes it's your detriment.
On board of Ryan Seams rather. Jason Seams behind. And I don't know the exact relation. I don't know who's the dad here, who the brothers are. I'm not sure. But Jason Seams, I think, is one of the older of the bunch. But we'll learn. We will learn. I'm sure Aaron will educate us at some point in time here.
Well, I'm sure they need to start working together. They lost 4 seconds that lap. 4 seconds. And I'm not sure if they're going to wait for the top 10 before they throw a yellow for the stage. I'm not sure if they're going to throw it as the leader does. Well,
it's not so much a stage. I think it's just a halfway break once the leader completes 35 laps.
Then they should relatively be in the clear. That's how they do it.
Oh, J.R. Tanksley there. That got close. And the leader is not far back. It's a matter of 10 seconds right now, Zach. Octavio, there we go, out of turn 6, right behind these guys. Each one of these three could go a lap down, although Octavio could get held up. And Octavio's got a 30-second lead. He could absolutely be forgiving to these three who are all trying to fight it out.
I don't know how that's Octavio, because full disclosure, that does not look like a 10-second gap to me.
No, it doesn't.
That looks like a 3 to 4 second gap, as they are now a full 1 minute 27 seconds behind. So maybe the margin is a little bit different considering to the fastest lap, but definitely very, very close right now to our leader. As
wall.
31 tags the wall once again. Roka's starting to scoot away now.
Yeah, that was a decent wall contact for the 131 out of turn 11.
Wall, big slide coming out of turn 12.
Here we go, drag race, and that's going to be a pass made by the 131 by turn 1. Rocha could climb back up the inside. No, he'll sit back. No challenge into the first corner. And that pass is complete for Ryan Seams, and there you go. Race leader Octavio Rondoletto rounds the first corner right behind. They're on lap 32. Octavio's on lap 33. All he's got to do is get back around here 2-3 more times as this fight heats up again. Rocha looking back on the inside through turn 3, now turn 4.
Can't be fighting right now. Have to prioritize staying on the lead lap. That is the best thing that you can do for your race right now. If you think you're faster, absolutely go for it, but you got to prioritize staying on the lead lap, and these three working together, finding a way to stay in it is the best thing that they can do for themselves.
While these guys spread out a little bit, how about Charles Joplin and Derek Dirks inside the top 5, 4th and 5th? We've talked a lot about how much we've liked this 11 car so far. From 19th to 5th, he's got nearly top 3 pace. It's very close, certainly top 4 pace. He is faster than this Joplin machine, but has to set the pass up to do it. Now going to work on lap 33, so he's going to have about 3 laps to make this pass.
Yeah, and I have to consider, really, are they catching any form of draft in these cars down the straightaways? I would think because of how low speed they are through the corners that they wouldn't be.
I definitely think they're getting a decent draft as here we go. Pass there. Jason Seams finally gets by Rocha.
And there is your leader. Looks like the margin to go a lap down is about 130, and it looks like Rocha is going to let the leader by. I can't necessarily agree with that, just because I am an oval racer through and through, and I full-heartedly believe in fighting to stay on the lead lap, but hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
So all the Seams are brothers, I'm being told, by Everett McNally III in YouTube chat. Apparently, Jason's the oldest, Earl is in the middle, and then Ryan is the youngest. So we have Ryan and Jason, the oldest and the youngest brothers in this little group, as now they get split up, and Ryan Seams drives away. That's the youngest. The oldest now going to get lapped by Octavio Rondoletto out of turn 6 and down, or turn 5 down towards turn 6.
Hey, they always say the younger brothers are usually the faster ones. Just look at Kurt and Kyle Busch.
Yeah. Yeah.
No stabs at any of the Seams brothers. They all seem to be having one heck of a night right now. And 2 of them in the top 10 right now. So definitely some pace out of that camp, and these guys are just trying to stay on the lead lap. As Rondoletto is coming back around, I believe this is going to be where they're going to throw the caution, or do you think they're going to run one more lap?
I think they'll go to the completion thereof, but they could throw it this time and save Jason and Ryan Seams here. Otherwise, I think they go a lap down. Jason to be first up. You see Ryan backing up as well. Jason's actually... They're all going to pit. So they're pitting here right before the end of the first half of this race. That is a heads-up play. So the pits do not close, apparently. Rondoletto comes in. No caution. They're to go to the completion, it looks like, of lap 35. What a heads-up move here.
I still think the 88 here is going to go a lap down because he was very slow.
They are a lap down currently, but, Zach, if they take a very low fuel fill, they could get back out before the 48 car.
Yeah, but look at everyone else. They're up on the jack well before the 88, and you see Matthew Bear now in his 81 machine coming down pit lane. Everybody's coming down pit lane.
Yeah, you can see the whole pit lane in this shot, so you can watch turn 12 and see if anybody else comes down. Watching the leader, so there goes... That's not Charles Joplin. I think that's the 2 car who goes by of Sean Patrick, and there goes Octavio straight out the pit lane. That's going to trap the Seams brothers a lap down.
That is unfortunate.
Whoa, Sean Andrews, slow. Has he run out of fuel?
I think he has.
Remember, he was on the pit lane for 2 minutes?
That is true.
Oh, the engine just let go in turn 9. You heard it there for... Zach is the one who didn't hear that. I think he's trying to get through the gears or something. The engine let go there in turn 9.
He's trying to get it up the hill, get it back to pit lane, and...
Unbelievable.
Oh, no.
Apparently, Steven Seams and Earl Seams are twins. They have just got one heck of a family tree. Here's Sean Andrews, though. And crunch. I don't mean the candy bar. Octavio comes around turn 9, turn 10, and as he comes back around, he should end this first half of racing and give us a halfway break in our only caution that we expect on the day. The field has become a mess behind him because there have been several cars, Matthew Bear, Brent Meckes, Jason Seams, Ryan Seams, who have all pitted. And let's see, no caution yet. There it is.
The first, and probably what will only be the yellow flag of the night.
Like the new caution graphic?
I do. I was about to make a comment on it, actually.
Yeah, the CC's B's and his caution, the one and only that we'll have here today. You see the field come on by. And this will give us an opportunity while the field cools down and comes back around. We'll go pit stop TV side by side and pick these guys up on the far side of this caution break before we go back green. Welcome back to the virtual Chicago Street Course. What a race this has been. Race 16 of 30 this season, the XCAL Webshop series. Thank you for tuning in here on Pit Stop TV. It's been a pleasure, even if the CC's caution graphic clips over these slates that we pull up. It has been a pleasure for Race 16. Of course, this broadcast brought to you by the wonderful partners of the XCAL Webshop series, Admin Box, The Butt Kicker, Flaming Karma, is that right? Flaming Karma? Yeah, Flaming Karma Paint Shop. I love that name. I love that logo. That's so dang cool. And the Tri-E Inc. Cooler Crew, and of course, the XCAL Racing web shop at xcalracing.com/shop. The field comes around turns 11 and 12 here on lap 37, and we'll have an opportunity to go to the pit lane right about here. Will we see takers? I think we will, but not in a large quantity. There we go. First car to pit is going to be, I believe, the 2 of Sean Patrick, and that'll pull a lot of the lead lap cars in as well, Charles Joplin namely, from the second spot as they were running. So Joplin comes in, Dirks will follow. Matthew Bear actually does come in. He already pitted again. These guys are coming in for fuel again, Zach. This shows how important.
Why, really?
This shows how important it is to be topped up.
I would assume so, because now they're going to roll through the caution period, and lap 38, about 23 laps, so that puts them. This would be the money stop, really.
And the only lead lap car to stay out, Octavio Rondoletto, the race leader. Now, I would take it as a sign, if you're on the lead lap and you pitted here and the leader didn't, I would take it as a sign that maybe you should be on his strategy instead.
At the same instance, though, this puts them, I did my math wrong, this puts them with having to pit at 10 to go from the looks of it.
Roughly, yeah. Well, hang on.
38.
20 to go.
No, because it's 23 laps. Put 3 laps, that's 41, and then...
Yeah, okay. Yeah, about 10 laps to go.
The math is definitely mathing here tonight.
Most of the time, not always. Well, Octavio Rondoletto will lead us around. We do have J.R. Tanksley, who should get a lap back. He's 9 laps down, so he could really use it. He was actually 10 laps down before the caution, so this will put him 9 laps down. So he should be able to wave by the leaders, as the leader was already behind him. He got picked up behind the pace car. But Zach, I can't say enough about these partners with the series, and I gotta say, of course, the design partner of the bunch stands out to me, Flaming Karma Paint Shop, but these are all really cool logos. Of course, Admin Box and the Butt Kicker, we know a lot about them. We've seen them in other broadcasts and other leagues as well. They each do a whole lot for sim racing, especially Admin Box. All of these race admins, it seems like, that we end up working with, it seems like they all have an admin box to help them out. The Butt Kicker, of course, helps you really feel the sim racing that you do. And Flaming Karma Paint Shop, just that logo, Zach, looks so dang cool.
Absolutely, it does. I love the look of that Flaming Karma paint. It's just, it's beautiful, really. Absolutely beautiful.
We're going to work on a lap 38. I'm a little unsure as to exactly when we'll get the 1 to green signal. I wonder if we'll get it this time by. Before we go back green flag racing, just shy of lap 40. It looks like we might actually get the green flag on lap 40 if the iRacing.com safety car lights shut off, and they do. So the field will double up and get ready to go racing this next time by the flag stand. And also a shout out as well to the Tri-E Inc. Cooler Crew. Again, we're learning. We don't know much about them, but a really cool logo to stand out and join really healthy company here at the XCAL Webshop series. And I gotta say, once again, thank you to Aaron Hillebush. Is that? Hang on. Let me make sure. He's just got xcal.com or xcalracing.com pasted across his Discord name. So I've just gotten so used to seeing that. But if I pull up Aaron Hillebush, really cool guy, has worked with me day and night to get this broadcast all set up, and I'm glad we've been able to do so. Definitely a demanding series in a good way. There is so much to learn here. And Zach, you know what? We can go back and talk about these owners' points because it is very important. This is where all the money comes from and goes right back to the drivers. Jason Seams, Gerald Poole, they are the top of the series, the Seams and the Poole cars. Jason Seams, that car being driven this evening by Matthew Bear, the number 81. He's been second just about all night long, but after this pit stop cycle is going to restart. He just came back in and topped up again. He's going to restart 7th.
Yeah, like I said, Andrew, the strategy can still work in a lot of these guys' favor for how many lap down cars there were, and there's so many different owner points battles going on throughout the field. Matthew Bear definitely needs to find a way to get up there and maybe get by Octavio Rondoletto and hold on to whatever he can. Jared Mogart, I know he's been trying to do everything he can tonight. There's so much going on at the moment, and I think at the end of this race we're going to have some drivers getting moved around in the owners' points.
Octavio is definitely going to close up and bring that 48 car a whole lot closer to the lead. The 81 is going to falter just a little bit, but the 91, Eddie Jones, has not been much of a factor. Now, he is going to restart 8th spot, so he's a whole lot closer to being a factor, and we'll see if maybe he can keep the car underneath him here on this run to the end. So he might kind of turn things around for the 91 car this evening. Jared Mogart has been right around the 10th spot. He's going to restart 9th. Ryan Seams in the 131 has been a factor inside the top 10 a couple of times, is looking to get back up there, is back on the lead lap. Brent Mekas has been really strong. But as we come back to the green, Brent is actually going to restart as the race leader, Zach. So watch out for this. Actually, I think it'll be Octavio still, because he stayed out. Anyways, we're about to come back around to the green flag. Brent is going to restart 2nd. There we go. They get us sorted back out. Joe Campbell on the front row. Green flag back in the air at Chicago. And there we go. Joe Campbell gets up and out of the way for these guys. 3, 4 wide down to turn number 2. Rondoletto around the outside. Mekas is there on the inside, and Rondoletto will get clear. But look at the Hornet's nest behind him.
3 wide back there, almost 4 wide going through the corners. There was a lot of separation from the field on the restart. Some of them were not up to the main field when the green flag dropped. So now everyone's trying to claw back through and see what positions they can make up. And oh, one car in the wall. That was 75 of Joplin.
A couple of cars nearly got the fence, or did get the fence, kind of scrubbing along the wall. Really close calls there through that midsection of the first half of the lap. Turns 4 and 5, really, really tough here at Chicago.
Absolutely they are. You've got to do whatever you can to hang on to the track position right now, especially coming up on 30 laps to go. So there's still a lot of time for drivers to make moves, but at the same time, you don't want to get caught fighting for too long. We saw some deep breakers going into that corner back there, and now it's just trying to hang on.
Look at these camera angles, man. Right at the bump there at turn 9. Really unsettles the car. And look at them come right at you through turn 10. That's so cool.
Yeah, they have to switch back so quick. They slide through that corner most of the time. It's so fun to see.
Gonna have to use these cameras a lot more on the back end. Whoa, Frank Klein getting the rear end out there. You know, the new street stock bodies from the Stars Super Stocks Tour just released on iRacing earlier today, and I was able to take one of the cars, the Ford Thunderbird, but it's called the Eagle on iRacing. Was able to take that car around here actually for just a couple of laps, just to test the car out and see if it really handled just like this car, and it does. But I was able to take that car around for a couple of laps, and I did that exact same thing in turn 12. It is so easy because the track almost kind of falls away a little bit, the way that the street is naturally built. And you can just get the rear end out there and go full lock left, bring it right back over, and it just sits right back on those rear leaf springs. This car is so much fun to wheel around a place like this.
Absolutely it is. I love seeing street stocks utilized in this manner, really. I ran a street stock race at Watkins Glen just the other night, and I had so much fun, so I'm super pumped whenever these guys do something like this out of the ordinary with a car that's really underutilized, in my opinion. I think this car has a lot more potential to be in really just a lot better scenarios when it comes to racing. I'm not saying this is bad in any way. I mean,
Joe Campbell turned around on turn 6. You may carry on. Just wanted to cover that briefly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there could be like an IROC style for cars like this. I think that would be awesome to see, especially with something like the SRX car too is on here now. Maybe a multi-class series, something that really tests people's fortitude when it comes to this car.
These cars are already close to the IROC Z28, and I see a lot of headlight packages that get it. But yeah, we could use those classic IROC cars for sure. We're on board here with Pennsylvania's Derek Dirks working in the 5th spot, looking up at Charles Joplin and Frank Klein, who complete the top 3. Well, Klein does, anyway. A little further back, Eddie Jones Jr. being passed up by Cristiano Rocha into turn number 2. That 24 car has been really good as well. The 91 and the 24, both really good. The 11 car even better, from 19th on the grid now to the top 5. But this 24 has been a lot of fun to watch as well. So definitely a few different drivers that we have to watch as this race goes on. But Rocha getting past Eddie Jones, now gets the wall. They both threw there between 4 and 5.
So many different things throughout the field right now. Everyone's really shaken up. We saw, Matthew Baer up towards the front. Now he's in the 10th position, allowing guys like Eddie Jones Jr. to gauge some spots and really move himself up through the field. Mekas is in 2nd, Klein 3rd. So to see these guys all trying to fight and claw to see where they can go, because a lot of these guys are on the same pace anyway. Eddie Jones Jr. has been one of the faster cars out of this group, and aside from the damage, he's still been holding relatively strong, whereas the rest of these cars, like Rocha or Riggins or Dirks, they've been super, super quick, might even have top 3 pace. So seeing how they fight throughout the rest of this race might be interesting to watch.
You mentioned Matthew Baer. Here he comes around turn 10 down to turn 11, the braking zone. He really has been completely different from the start of this race here in the back end. I don't know what's gone on. He's running 140s when he was running 136s earlier, but here we go, side by side down the front stretch. Rocha with the offense here on DP Riggins, who goes defensive and now slides in behind the 24 car. So Rocha up to 6th position. Riggins falls back to 7th. Big change of position there as Rocha nears the top 5.
They're fighting. They're fighting hard. They gotta figure out how they can get any more extra speed out of these cars. We zoom in on another battle here. That's Patrick leading them in the 2. Jeff Edgar in the middle. I actually was not. No, they are all a lap down. I thought they all had gotten back on the lead lap somehow, but it looks like they are all still 1 lap down.
If they're a little fight further up, we have this fight through turns 4 and 5. Eddie Jones still working on DP Riggins. And then we actually have a fight brewing for 2nd spot. Frank Klein is holding with Brent Mekas here, who's now taken over 2nd with Matthew Baer's absence up here in the top 5. This could be a lot of fun between these two. Frank Klein has been kind of a sleeper here. Might go for 2nd here soon. Mekas just got the inside wall big time at the apex of turn number 8.
That's going to be some big time damage on that car. It doesn't look like it's struggling too much. You can see the wider arc that he's taking through the corner while trying to catch Riggins, and I don't think that's going to play too well in his favor. He's got to find a way to hit that apex a little bit better to carry a lot more speed through the corners.
Derek Dirks, meanwhile, still pressuring Charles Joplin, looking for a mistake, an opportunity to go by. We are inside of 30 laps to go, working on 25 as Rocha drifts in the background out of turn 12. Golly, I love the way these guys are driving. Here we go, moving to turn 1. That is Dirks up the inside, pass not complete.
He's trying. He is absolutely trying. They're side by side still, going into the next left-hander, or excuse me, right-hander. Give him space.
Here we go, around the outside, almost.
No run here. No, maybe he does. Going up through the gears, it seems like Joplin's a little bit slower on the upshift. Heavy braking going into the corner. Dirks is going to take it.
Problems for Jason Seams, it seems like, and pun not intended for sure. But Jason Seams been in the pit lane for a while at this point. He came in with a lot of damage, and I think that left front, yeah, it's seen better days.
Oh my goodness. Might be a tank slapper in the wall like we saw Tanksley have. This might be either the corner or a few corners beforehand on board now.
I think it's going to happen down at turn 7. We've seen a lot of cars pound that wall.
Gotta be. Got the left-hander right here. Doesn't look like he's going to shortcut it in any way. Yeah, I think you're right, Andrew.
It's either 7 or 8. Right here at turn 7, this is late. That's really late to the brakes. Just makes the apex. How about turn 8, though? Must be where it happens.
Going into the corner.
Yo!
Oh,
Wow.
shortcut the corner.
Yep, got the inside wall at the apex of 8 and then shot him to the outside wall. That's a quick way to drop out of this race. Jason seems a whole lot of damage. The eldest of the seams we've been told, and yeah, that's a quick way to end up out of this race.
The McDonald's barrier has seen better days.
We'll get one more look at it here for Jason Seams. This is through turn 7, all fine and dandy here. It's going to be down a little further right about here. Boom, wall, and that's it.
Just like a ping pong ball right there. Left to left again. Or right, left, right.
Well, we come back live to this fight. This is for 7th. And we're going to put up a statistic on the ticker on the left side of the screen as, oh, Eddie Jones missed a gear. He falls way back in the acceleration zone. But let's pull up the position gain during this race. You can see how much these drivers have moved around. Dirks and Rocha, they gridded up on the 10th row of the grid, very back end of the field, 19th and 20th. They've driven to 4th and 6th, respectively. What an impressive day for those two.
And Dirks is still trying to move up inside the top 3, put himself on the podium, talk to us here at the Pit Stop TV booth, and we saw here live with Rocha right in front of Riggins, almost lose a spot. It looked like he tagged the wall a little bit or just had a bad run, but this group has really closed back up more. Eddie Jones Jr. back in the mix. Look at Riggins sliding the tires coming out of 11, going into 12. I think this fight's really about to start to heat up more as they are starting to kind of find their rhythm. I know I say that and they're sliding around, but these guys might actually start finding their rhythm here within the next lap or two, and they'll start fighting a little bit more.
Their rhythm absolutely could be sliding the rear end of the car.
That is true.
I think as long as you're not sliding the front end, you're usually okay.
You don't want to put too much heat in those rear tires, though, Andrew, because then you'll just be sliding regardless.
Pass made, it looks like, by Jeff Edgar over Sean Patrick, so this fight going to fizzle out. I think Edgar the faster car there.
I think as we cut away, Joplin was getting reeled in by Rocha.
Yeah, Joplin's starting to back up to this fight for sure. That would be for 5th position if Rocha and company can get there.
Yeah, look at the gap now between him and Dirks, and then look at that up there. That's your top 2, or excuse me, your top 3.
Yeah, Octavio's kind of checked out, but Mekis and Klein are not that far ahead of these guys. I mean, it's about 7 seconds up the road to Klein. That sounds like a lot, but here where they're moving, I don't think they top 100 miles per hour at all under this lap, but that's definitely a doable gap if you get down and you buckle down and start to run some good laps.
Absolutely. There's still some ample opportunity for these drivers, and, you know, biggest thing right now, too, is that there could always be a caution if there's a full course yellow needed, knock on wood, is whoa. You still think their rhythm is sliding those cars around, Andrew?
Could be, just a little extra sliding there. That was McDonald's through there, though, Eddie, not White Castle. No?
No.
That one didn't, not gonna slide, I guess?
No. I didn't usually eat White Castle. You gotta remember, I was born in Pennsylvania.
That's White Castle country.
Never saw one in Pennsylvania. Never in my life.
What?
And I've been up to Pennsylvania multiple times in the last few months. Never seen it. However, I do favor Perkins. Love Perkins. Love their pancakes.
Man. A Perkins guy.
Come on.
Oh, here we go. Move from Eddie Jones into turn 4. That's not a passing zone, but he's going to make it work. Almost.
He didn't
Ends up
want
back behind the 5 car.
Bad enough.
Slides around on some butter and syrup, and that just did not work in turn 4. That is not a passing zone, not a passing opportunity. It's so fast and so narrow, you really can't hold position. And even where he got that position on DP Riggins, he simply could not hold it. Riggins was faster on the outside and got that spot back away. Now he looks to the inside at turn 7. No opportunity there.
Hey, the opportunity is always there for a pass. You gotta give him credit for trying to make it work. You saw SVG do it on Justin Haley in the Chicago Street Race last year.
They're moving a lot faster, though. It's more of a passing opportunity for them because they slow down more.
That is true, actually. Those next-gen cars operating a little bit like a V8 supercar, as we see them still sliding around a lot more. This fight has just been grueling the entire race, really. These three have been grouped together for quite a while. I mean, Riggins is a little newer to the fight than Rocha and Eddie Jones Jr., but these three still have been pretty roped together. As we now see Joplin coming into the mix as they are lapping, I believe that's Burns.
Yeah, it's Doug Burns. They're going to pass the 17 car who gets in the way of Riggins and now gets in the way of Jones. And Jones is going to get one heck of a gimme there. Meanwhile, here we go. This is for second spot.
Don't look now. Dirks is right behind.
Yeah, Dirk's closing. This could be a three-car fight now for second, third, and fourth. And then DP Riggins just got held up big time, lost that spot to Jones as a result, and gets real sideways out of turn 6, trying to get back to it. But Frank Klein starting to be a whole lot of fun to watch here in the back half of this race, nearing lap 50. And I really think this 33 machine has something left to give.
He definitely has something left to give. He's been uber quick these last few laps. He's caught up to Mekas quite a considerable amount. Definitely some ways to go. He's still only about 0.6 of a second behind. But at the same time, there he is coming in frame. He's only about a second behind Klein in this fight.
Ooh,
Big
Mekas.
slide by Mekas.
Gonna open the door potentially for Klein at some point under this next lap.
2/10 closed in that corner alone. Runs wide in the corner. That's going to be another run here by Klein. Frank Klein looking to see if he can make a move.
He's going to have an opportunity in turn 1.
Deep on the brakes, maybe? Yes. Gets
Clears right on by.
into the corner, locks it
Oh
up.
no! They're going to spin.
He's
Mekas
spinning.
goes around off the nose of the 11 of Dirks. Dirks now going to square up the 33. Wow.
Big time move by Frank Klein. Locks it up into the corner. Reminds me of when Chase Elliott locked it up going into turn 1 at the Charlotte Roval back in 2019. I was at that race, actually.
So was I.
Yeah, I ended up walking back to my car to get my power pack to charge my phone at the same time that Chase Elliott put it in the wall. I heard the crowd scream. I'm like, what did I miss? I come back, he's right in the back.
Here we go. Here's this moment into turn 1. Frank Klein up the inside, just absolutely missed the corner. What an effort, though. And then Mekas trying to miss it, goes off the nose of the 11 of Dirks. And, wow. Just
That's some
wow.
hefty right side damage on that 33, though. That is going to be a hindrance more than likely as the day goes on.
Here's
On
Dirks'
board
point of
with
view.
Dirks.
Watch Klein just go straight through. Dirks kind of sliding still. All the left wheel he could give.
You got to give him credit for trying to make the effort. That was all he could do to not run into Mekas. Not much else you could really ask for.
Whoa, this is live. We got a slow car. It's a blue machine. That's the 25 of Tanksley who squeezes Klein
big
at the apex of 11.
Klein does not want to give this up, but he got a really bad run. He's going defensive into 12. Dirks looks to the outside, gets to the quarter panel. Gonna try a crossover. No, big slide out of the 11. Now they're going to be side by side. They're running to 1. No, looks like Klein will clear by about a car length.
They separate for the time being. Charles Joplin, he's pitting. The 75 to the pit lane. He leaves Eddie Jones and Cristiano Rocha. DP Riggins, rather, not too far behind these guys. Rocha way out wide at turn 1. Going to open up.
Tags the wall.
Going to open up the door for the 5 car.
Yeah, tag the wall right there out of 1. That's going to give Riggins a shot to cross him over. Gets a run. I don't know if he'll be able to go with it here, but he's going to make the effort. Maybe into the passing zone.
There goes the 5 of Riggins. That's a pass made.
Fight back, though.
Not here at turn 4. You can't. Just got to get in line.
Closed in a little. Oh, you missed the apex right there. That's going to be a hurt move right there.
You know what we haven't done yet today? We have not yet looked at weather conditions. 67 degrees in the air, 74 on track, and we are getting closer and closer to sunset. We won't quite get there during this race, but you can see the sun getting lower and lower in the cityscape. Meanwhile, this is the fight for second. Frank Klein, Derek Dirks. As Klein gets a little free there out of turn 7. Now turn 8. This is going to set up for one hell of a battle.
Yeah, he just missed the apex going into the sweeper. I don't know if Dirks is going to have anything for him here. Tag the wall, or I think we should coin the phrase he grabbed
Here we go.
a W right
There we
there.
go.
Oh, he lets him go.
Yeah, Frank Klein just lets the 11 car pass at that point. So pass made. Dirks
Maybe
now has gone from 19th to 2nd.
Ooh, Mekis into the pit lane. I thought we would see Klein head to the pit lane, but no.
Whoa, did you see that 25 get free that time? Tank slapper for him. That was Tanksley. As Rocha will pit. TP Riggins. Yes, that pun was intended. And here is Matthew Bear, who's trying to come back to the field. That's rare in a street stock.
Yeah, big left front lockup, like we saw out of Frank Klein. Not as big as what Klein had, though. Smaller impact for the 81.
Underlining the points of value here. Started 2nd, is currently 6th. He restarted 10th. Big problems for Matthew Bear, honestly. This race, I don't want to say it's been fumbled yet because there's still time, but Zach, I feel like he could have stayed 2nd place.
He absolutely could have. Lots of room for improvement here. I know Matthew Bear is probably kicking himself as he goes for a move inside Riggins. Gets it done. And he's going to move himself into the 5th position. There's Joplin fresh out of the pit lane with Rocha right behind him. There you see Patrick, and I believe...
I was trying to figure scoring out. So, yeah, Brent Meckes is ahead of these guys. Charles Joplin and Cristiano Rocha, they are 10th and 11th now, freshly off the pit lane behind Brent Meckes. This is real close through turn 3, now turn 4. Rocha's going to go for it, side by side to the apex. Wow, how did they not touch more? How did they not hit the wall? Rocha is going to get the pass for the time being, still leaning on each other, though.
What was that about it not being a passing zone, Andrew?
That was incredible. And there's still nearly 20 laps to go. They're side by side here to turn 6, and Joplin will give that spot up. Lock up for 24.
Oh, there's someone spinning right there going into turn 1 in the background.
Eddie Jones, 91 car. He's 5th. Soon to be 6th if Mogard has his way about it.
Eddie Jones Jr. has been passed up by Matthew Bear now as Riggins is in the pit lane. Burns right in front of him. Might have been there for a little while now. And
Campbell in the pit lane. Oh my gosh.
He's got front end damage.
And this is recent. He towed to the pit lane about 20 seconds ago, Zach. Gonna look at it here. This is down to turn 6. Car looks okay here. It must be turn 7 again.
He must have missed the apex or missed the braking zone into the corner. No, still clean.
Could it be the same as Jason Seams?
It's possible.
Yep.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, bigger impact. He hit it at a much worse angle. He destroyed both the left and the right front. Jason Seams was at least able to wheel the car back to the pit lane. But this seemed like a heftier impact, much earlier of a turn in here from Campbell.
We'll watch him back through turn 6, and turn 6 looks really good, actually. By comparison, got right to the wall there, a little late back to power. That's okay. If the tires are worn, that might be the way you have to drive it. But down here at turn 7, even 7 looks okay. Apex nicely, back on power, and then just turns in a little too early for 8. Boom.
Oh.
Boom. Immediately broke the right front.
The wheel is completely straight.
Right, so the way it's simulated is when a wheel disconnects, the steering wheel for spectators goes completely straight and rigid. So that's how you can tell if a wheel snaps back to center position. All of a sudden in a crash, you can tell that somewhere one of the corners of the car has come completely disconnected since he hit with the right front immediately. As soon as he hit that concrete barrier, he knocked the right front clean off.
Just an unfortunate set of circumstances for him. He's been doing real good, trying to hang on to that car, and it happens.
Fight now between Ryan Seams and Jared Mogard. This for 6th as they run, but the top 7 all still have to pit.
Place your bets. We think the short pit works out for these drivers, or do we think the other drivers that have stayed out to take it to the end of the fuel run might be the more beneficial group?
I don't think there's going to be much difference. It's just a matter of time on pit lane, but short pitting definitely going to work here as Mogard will give that spot up. Seams will go right on by and now chase down Eddie Jones Jr., or at least give it a shot anyways, who's just up ahead. Rondoletto, let's see, he'd be clear at any point in time now to pit. He is still on the racetrack. Now been on the racetrack for 19 laps. And the
Truly
pit
would
window
not
is
lose
squarely
the
open.
lead. I really don't think he'd lose the lead here.
He would temporarily, because he's only got 25 seconds back to Dirks, and Dirks is starting to run, let's see, last lap a 139.3, last lap for Rondoletto a 137.5, so Octavio is going to continue to build a gap. I think Octavio is probably best off if he continues to build that gap. He knows he's faster, and go all the way that he can, not have to pass anybody back or not have to pit and come out in any kind of group. If he can go as long as he can, I think he stands the best chance of leaving pit lane solo.
That is very true. Just do whatever you can to maintain that lead, and he's done one heck of a job. We see more cars. We see Mogart here on the pit lane.
Burns there as well. No front bumper.
Yep. Burns has been there for quite a while. I did not even realize he had lost that
8
front
minutes.
bumper. Oh my goodness.
So Mogard drops through the order just a little bit. Brent Mekas, the top driver that has pitted, he is now 7th place rather. Ryan Seams 27 seconds up the road. So pit lane time for Mekas, by the way, 59 total seconds. So call it a minute. That's a long time to be in the pit lane.
Absolutely. I'm not sure what might have happened that kept him in there that long, or even maybe it was just
The pit stop was 33 seconds, so I think that's a quick pit stop. Given what we've seen so far tonight, I think that's a relatively fast stop. So Rondoletto, if we consider he's going to have some kind of similar pit stop, Zach, 59 seconds in the pit lane thereabouts. In fact, that's exactly what he had under caution. His delta right now would put him in the 6th position behind Ryan Seams, and he's faster. So if they're able to go longer, he would actually potentially run up into them. I know you already agreed, but I really think Octavio needs to stay on the racetrack as long as possible here just to keep this race as safe as possible for him as he's coming around to 15 to go in a minute, a lap, half a lap.
He's got so many cars a lap down right now. It's just insane the pace he's had tonight. Really didn't even expect it. There were so many different expectations rolling into tonight, this being our first broadcast with this group, and they've really showed me, and I hope they showed you, just how disciplined a lot of these drivers are with their racecraft on something like a street course.
I will say I'm impressed to see this many oval drivers do this well on a road course. I'm genuinely decently impressed. And you know what? Whenever we do pick up coverage with them in the fall, Zach, we still have no clue how they are on an oval. We don't know. We're going to go all the way to championship time nearly and not know how these guys race on an oval as DP Riggins comes into the pit lane. There is a chance maybe we get an errant summer broadcast. I'll be a little bit, I guess, open about that. But for the most part, it's looking like we pick things up in the fall, and we still don't know how these guys are on ovals. We only have this street course to work off of as DP Riggins takes some repairs, and will work back onto the pit lane here shortly, or back off of the pit lane shortly.
Yeah, still so much race left to run. There's so much of an opportunity for everything to happen tonight, and I think we're going to see a very different top three from what we have right now. Obviously, we have Dirks that has finally made it by Klein, and looks like Jones here in the 91 is on the pit lane. For a second there, I thought he had run out of gas.
Oh no, Brent Mekas. He's junk. He's coming around to the pit lane. He's gonna be done. He is very slow.
Trying to make his way around. That left front looks disconnected, or maybe it's the right front. I'm not sure.
Right front.
Definitely right front as he rolls by the camera. Oh, did he shortcut a corner as well?
I think it was turn 8. Might have been turn 7. Here we go. Replay up. Got the wall there on the outside, and wow.
Tagging the wall just...
Wow.
That was a really light tap.
I think the left front's okay. He must have broken the right front, the corner prior. Did he go deep in 6? He did, Zach. And he was fighting here, J.R. Tanksley. Tanksley's a lap down. He moved all the way over. I don't know if I think Tanksley was trying to give the corner up, and there was a miscommunication. But then down here at turn 6, Mekas goes way deep. Boom, wall, and that broke the right front.
See Tanksley avoiding as Mekas rolls away. And then the little tap to the wall right here, he could not get it slowed down enough and head on into the wall.
Wow. One of the top drivers in this race out of it.
Looking so promising as well. Oh my goodness. Now, I coined it earlier in the race, and I want to run it by you. Obviously, might be a little copyrighted here, but hey, let's say if they hit the wall where the McDonald's logos are, they are grabbing a McDubby.
Well, here's Matthew Barrett to the pit lane finally, so he comes in for service, and Ryan Seams will follow. And this now just about opens up that delta for Octavio to go ahead and pit. Somebody is plowing up the wall. Who was that? I just heard them go by the fence. Guess we can go to one of these cameras and maybe find out. Was it Seams, maybe?
Does have a little bit of damage, but he also has been in the pit lane for quite a while.
I'm not sure, but here we go. Matthew Bear. Why is this? His time was still counting for a while there. I think pit lane extends for a ways. We're just kind of catching back up.
I will say Matthew Bear has definitely been gifted quite a few spots in these recent laps. He is up inside the top 5 after his pit stops. And with Klein and Dirk still left to pit, he might actually inherit second place once again, as we see the 131 there pulling a little Tokyo drift coming out of the pit lane.
I think you're right, Zach. I think somehow Matthew Bear is still going to cycle back to second place.
Because Klein and Dirks have yet to pit. And look at Matthew Bear. 23 seconds in the box, 48 on the pit lane.
That's
was
all
7
that extra
seconds
fuel
faster.
he took.
I think we might have doubted his strategy a little bit in the early stages of this race.
Well, I watched the gear here on the telemetry graphic. He's keeping it pretty simple, so watch this number. Stays in 4th. This is saving. This is a whole lot of fuel saving. Only down to 3rd. It's not like you can lose a gear here in iRacing. He's just saving fuel, and he's realizing that he's not losing much because 3rd gear still pulls decently. That's why he took so little time on the pit lane.
Do we see him inherit the lead? Or at least get close?
No, he's over a minute behind Octavio.
I think if Octavio pits here within the next lap or so, I say Matthew Bear gets within at least 20 seconds. Closer than he's been most of the race.
There's
There
Octavio.
we go. Octavio to the pit lane. So now, that pulls in Dirks to take the lead, unless he pits here.
Derek Dirks will come around in about 18 more seconds. Here he is. He's running through the McDonald's drive-through exit. And we'll come around turn 12 and pit.
That one was a little better. I'll give you that one.
Oh, the McDonald's drive-through.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Rondoletto. We imagine he should exit here soon. It's been about 30 seconds for most of the field. 23 for the fuel-saving master of Matthew Bear. Rondoletto should be exiting anytime. Uh-oh.
He's got to get going.
Uh-oh. There we go.
There he goes.
Total of 1 minute and 6 seconds in the pit lane. So he is going to end up exiting a bit closer to Matthew Bear than I thought he would, but still a big separation. There's Bear just now getting to turn 12.
Let's see where Dirks comes out. Now sitting behind Rondoletto. He's still in the pit lane. He is definitely going to get passed here by Matthew Bear.
Just got passed.
That is one heck of a strategy call to still stay in it. Dirks out and away. Klein still your race leader. He's definitely going to lose the lead. Only about 7.5 seconds in front of Rondoletto.
There goes Derek Dirks. How about Frank Klein? He's through turn 6. And down to turn number 7 he will go. He's still got a pit. I'd imagine he pits this next time around. He's now been on the racetrack for 21 laps. So everything's starting to work to a precipice, Zach. I think we're about to see this race kind of work into its final form. Once Klein pits, I think all of the dominoes are in place, aside from maybe Sean Patrick, who's a lap down. Well, he's now in the pit lane finally, so we'll see where he works out. Albert Hewan's in the pit lane. And there we go. Pit stop now for car 33.
Yeah, Klein taking it to the pit lane. He's definitely going to get passed up here as Rondoletto starts passing him by, but maybe he leads the lap. No, I think Rondoletto got him before Klein was able to lead the lap, and there you see race leader Octavio Rondoletto. He has been class of the field all day. He is 23 seconds clear of Matthew Baer, who is getting ready to pass up Frank Klein and retake his second place position. So doesn't seem like that 48 will close in too much with the owner's points, but hey, he's definitely doing everything he needs to do, but Matthew at the same time doing what he needs to do to retain the points lead for that team.
We're going to have to eat some words here on Matthew Baer's strategy. I really thought he was out of it. Second place somehow.
Hey, I called it earlier on, though. I said it early on in the broadcast that that type of strategy could actually pay off in the long run. And look at that. He's got a 7-second gap to Rocha. Dirks has fallen to 4th. Klein has fallen to 6th. It really just worked out in his favor.
Incredible. Well, Derek Dirks is going to fight now with Cristiano Rocha, and Dirks had a much longer pit stop. Charles Joplin and Frank Klein now going to fight. This is fresh off the pit lane. This is down to turn 4. This is Klein, Joplin, and Jones in a line, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So 2 really good fights in the top 10 to take us to the end of this one. There's Dirks on the inside. This is into turn 6. And lock up for Rocha. He gets the wall hard.
And he's damaged.
Yeah.
He's got a right front. I think so.
He might be okay. That was definitely a big hit.
Corner missing Burns there. That was, oh my goodness.
Here we go, Jones and Joplin.
Lock up out of what looked like Klein right there.
Frank
as
Klein
he came into frame.
Well,
this is your back half of the top 10.
Things are getting busy. Tanksley sliding.
Oh,
He's going to take out Frank Klein, maybe. Tanksley crashes, and Klein gets a big piece of it, but the car looks okay. He'll carry on. 10 laps to go when he comes back around to the stripe. Lock up there.
Locked up again. Oh my goodness, he is definitely struggling now. There was contact for sure. I think something had to happen. Maybe he just... I'm not even sure here. You see Tanksley right in front. Frank Klein coming into frame. This is on board. Tanksley might have just gotten loose, over-rotated the car. Yeah,
right
he
there.
carried way too much speed. Klein got a piece of it. The nose popped off, but I think he's going to be okay. Still seems like it's on the car.
We go on board with Ryan Seams straight back from the replay. He's working on Charles Joplin. This is for 7th and 8th. They'll come around and complete another lap.
Saw the lock up there from Klein. Way up the road.
And a move from Seams, no. He pulls back in behind.
That is Doug Burns right in front. Oh, look at how close that was under braking. That was very, very close. Joplin probably thought he was going to be okay to finish off his corner and enter properly, but Seams really stuck that nose in there, and now they're going to be side by side. This is not a passing zone, Andrew, but we've seen it work.
Seams around the outside, falls back in line. Doug Burns ahead. That's the slow car. Oh,
That's going to
real
hold
close.
up Joplin on exit, compromise the corner. Here comes Seams. He's not there yet. Might take a move into the corner. No, gonna stay in line. And
Now Seams really got held up there by the 17 of Burns. Now,
he goes for it.
Bump there at the
Bumper.
apex of the corner. That was perfectly done. Did not upset the 75, but let him know he was there. It's a 0x right there at the apex. Perfect stuff. Now Ryan Seams clips the inside wall at the apex of turn 7, right on the inside of it to make it through 8. Now around 9 at the carousel.
Joplin runs wide. That's going to be side by side through 10.
And Joplin gives it up.
Oh, but I think Zeems just hit the wall.
He did. I don't think that'll be enough. I think Seams is going to pull away, and Joplin gives the spot up, falls back now to the 8th spot. And that
saw there, read the room on how that was going to go, let Seams take the damage and fall back in line to see where he could go with this car. But Andrew, we've got 9 laps to go right now, and this is crunch time. This is go time. Rondoletto has a huge lead, so no fight really there unless a huge mistake happens with a lap car or he just makes some sort of error. He's walking away with a trophy tonight, and that car is still perfectly clean, absolutely pristine. The discipline he's had to hang on to this has been incredible. I don't even think he's really hit anybody.
This isn't the end of the race, but the dominoes have fallen into place for sure, as we weren't quite live. I knew something wasn't quite right. I must not have hit the button when I thought I did. But we still got to watch that battle. It was technically a little behind. You know what, Zach? Live TV. It happens. But Octavio Rondoletto, now fully back to live picture, just took, what was that, 8 laps to go? Ooh, slides around 6. So we'll call it 7.5 now. Again, the race isn't over, but I think the dominoes have fallen into place, and that there aren't many opportunities at this point for the dominoes to move around unless there's some significant driver error.
As they say in Formula One, with how quick Verstappen is, it's really just best of the rest fight. And the best of the rest fight is actually about to start heating up. Dirks has closed in on Matthew Baer. He's only 3 seconds away.
Well, we'll see what happens. Go on board with Derek Dirks, and you can see bottom right of the screen. And remember, Matthew Baer has been saving fuel. He took as little fuel as possible under the pit stop to leapfrog some of these drivers in the pit lane. So Dirks, having fueled up entirely, could absolutely run him back down. I mean, we've been seeing last lap was a 1:38.9 out of Baer, which is uncharacteristic compared to his 1:36.5 best lap. Meanwhile, Dirks with 1:36.4 best lap. Last lap was 1:37.3, so 1.5 seconds faster than Matthew Baer last time around the circuit. We'll see what it is this time, but he just pulled in a second while we've been on board. 1:39.3 for Baer. Last lap for Dirks is a 1:37.2, so 1.1 seconds the gain.
He's still closing that gap, Andrew. He's down to 1.
Walk up for Baer.
Big time lockup. About grabbed the wall, I'm pretty sure.
That was a second right there and more.
That costed him about 1.1 seconds, really. 1.2 now. Down to 7/10, down to 6/10. Such a big gain, especially on a long straightaway. You can't compromise a run on a straightaway. That hurts you so bad.
Baer's feeling the pressure. He got the wall twice there in that complex of corners. We're going to have ourselves a nice little fight down the backstretch and into turn number 6 very, very, very soon.
They are so close together now. This is the fight for second. Coming up on 6 laps to go this time by. No other fights really throughout the field other than this group. I think there's maybe one close fight. That's Jones and Seams for 6th and 7th, with Joplin a little bit behind them, but still. Only 9 cars on the lead lap, too, Andrew. Only 9 cars on the lead lap. Mogart, the last of them.
And here we go. We've got ourselves a fight for second. Derek Dirks, much faster these last few laps. Picked up 2 seconds in this lap alone. And we're going to have 6 laps to go at the stripe.
Look at the run that Baer got off the corner. He is definitely trying to put that car in a position that he can hang on to the spot. I don't know here, Andrew. Dirks has been very, very quick all race long. You've got to minimize the mistakes. You've got to be able to put that car in a position that it can hang on. Oh, another lockup!
Again for the 81 car. 2 laps in a row at turn 2.
They are coming up on a lap car. I believe that is Jason Seams, right?
Yeah, it looks like it. There it is. The pass opportunity for Dirks. Baer lets him have it. Bear can
crossover.
still hang on to a top 3, and I think that's what he's going to go for. He's got some 13 seconds back to Rocha. He's just got to hang on these next 6.5 laps, 5.5 laps rather.
This is where you come in with no mistakes. Dirks has been beautiful. Not to mention, Andrew, he's up, like we said, from the 10th row as Bear tags the wall a little bit right there. I think if I did my math correctly,
17 spots.
That is amazing. Heck of a run for this guy. He's been on rails. He hasn't led any laps, but he has definitely showed that he is here to play.
Eddie
Rocha
Jones
as well, he's
Jr.,
won
nice little fight here.
spots. Yeah, this is what we talked about earlier. They were getting pretty close together, and now the 131 has gone on by.
Frank Klein also now working on Cristiano Rocha, so this actually is really good news for Matthew Bear. He needs these two to keep fighting, and I think they will. I think Klein's going to get this spot back away. Klein and Rocha, identical pit stops. It's just been driver mistakes or driver successes on the racetrack that have led these two to where they are.
Well,
And Rocha, that lap, was about a second slower than Klein. Gets the wall there on the entry to turn 1.
I think maybe it comes down to, oh, that was a big wiggle out of Rocha. Now they're going to be, oh, I thought they were side by side.
Oh, there was
Going
contact.
into the corner.
That was warranted. Rocha came all the way back over into a brake zone.
Moving under braking is a big no-no on road racing. There's a lot of people that do not like it. It comes down to just, if you have the, oh, I think Klein might have gone a little too deep there.
It's okay,
Gave up a little
plenty
bit
of time to go.
Yeah, but the one thing that I was thinking about, honestly, is comparing pit lane times. If they had identical stops, were they also identical in the pit lane?
Rocha took 0.8 seconds longer
As in coming down through the pit lane.
in the pit lane.
My goodness.
Identical pit stop times at 32.9 seconds each.
Oh, in the wall! They both tagged the wall.
Contact for Rocha. Klein now right on him. Klein's got to be careful not to get that inside wall at turn 8. That was close. They're going to have 4 laps to go when they come back around the start-finish line.
My goodness. These drivers are really going all out, trying to see what they can do with these cars, and there's a little bit of a battle going on between Jones and, oh, I think teams, but hey, so much still left to go in this race.
And pit stop. Charles Joplin comes into the pit lane about, a minute ago. And he has lost a lap now, so drops back to 10th and may even lose 10th to Jeff Edgar if Jeff is able to get there in time. Jeff is 2 laps down, though. So Joplin with a big problem. And Frank Klein, here we go, side by side with Rocha.
Here we go. This is what we wanted to see. This is what we knew was going to happen. Klein has finally been able to take the spot away. He's well and clear, but Rocha might actually still be able to get back to him.
This is everything Matthew Bear needs and more. They have lost an extra 2 seconds compared to where they were when Bear fell into this position. Klein now through to 4th, and I don't think he's looking back at all. I think he's got the spot and then some. He's already pulled up another 10th on this straightaway alone. Rocha definitely a little bit injured at this point.
Yeah, he definitely looks a lot more injured. Might honestly be a Delta Wing. Kind of like
Oh, no.
Ed Jones. Or not Ed Jones, excuse me. Oh, my goodness.
Well, Charles Joplin has lost the top 10. He falls down to 11th. So Jeff Edgar, through discipline and staying in this race, just continuing to complete laps, is now in the top 10. I would not have expected that if you told me at the top of the day that he would move up into the top 10 position. He had an awful start to this race. And somehow, someway, after being 21st for a very long time, up into the top 10, now ahead of Sean Patrick by 21 seconds. What a day it has probably been for the driver of the 7 car. I can only imagine the roller coaster he's been on. But the battles are just about sorted at this point. So, Zach, one more reminder here before we close up shop for the evening to follow us on Pit Stop TV's social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and X formerly known as Twitter. So many places to follow along, so many places to see updates about when you can watch these Pit Stop TV broadcasts. You've got to do it. You've got to follow along, and especially once we pick up more XCAL races, there will be updates about when to watch XCAL on Pit Stop TV if you just follow along.
Absolutely. PitStopTV.com's best place to look at Pit Stop TV and get all the info about what we're doing here. Facebook.com/PitStopTV, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, Twitch.com/Pit_Stop_TV, YouTube.com/PitStopTV1, and then X.com. I see you finally updated that a little bit there, Andrew.
That we did. Finally got the new graphic rolled out. Well, 2 laps to go. Last time by the stripe.
Half, really.
Close to it, yeah. 2 laps to go the last time by the stripe for the 48 of Rondoletto. So we are right down to the very end of this one at this point. Want to remind you of the upcoming broadcasts here at the channel. We'll talk more about this in just a few moments after this race, but the Majors 24 this weekend, along with the Icon Cup Series at Sonoma, and next week we go to the Milwaukee Mile with the 1/8 Racing Media National Tour for the Sim Auto Racing Association. You can find out more about where XCAL is headed next at xcalracing.com. Unfortunately, well, fortunately for us in a way, Zach, but unfortunately for us as well, we will not be picking up coverage of the XCAL Webshop series next week on June 11th. That'll actually be my sweet Grandma Jones' birthday. But you and I will be at Charlotte Motor Speedway for Cookout Summer Shootout. You'll be behind the wheel, so you can follow along with Zach Murtis' racing adventures. Zach, plug your platforms as we take the white flag, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams.
Yeah, you can follow us all over the place. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn even. All over the place. YouTube as well, X.com. Murtis Racing across the board. At Murtis Racing all over. So no matter where you search me, you'll definitely be able to find me on any social media platform. Not to mention YouTube. Got a lot of cool YouTube videos coming up, especially from the Earnhardt Outdoor Showdown in downtown Kannapolis a few weeks ago. That was helped and produced by Pit Road TV, which you will be assisting with for the Flow Racing broadcast at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Oh, no!
Ryan Seams! Doug
Trying
Burns.
to get by the 17 of Doug Burns. Ryan Seams has been reeling in this 24 car. He still is. I wonder if Rocha's backpedaling here to save some fuel and make a fuel number.
It's possible, but that's bringing Seams into the play.
I think Ryan's going to get 5th.
It's possible here. Look at just how much he closed in, going into 11, coming into 12. Rocha's got to go. He has to. I know he might be trying to save fuel, but you got to go. You got to take anything you can. You see Klein right up the road in 4th position. They don't have enough time to get to Klein, but hey, there is still always the possibility to get 1, 2 more spots. Whatever you can get on the racetrack, you got to go for it.
A good look overhead here at Ryan Seams, closing in turn 1 on that 24 car of Rocha. He is officially there now, Zach, as they work into turn number 2. Look how close they are. Contact!
Oh,
Seams
bumper!
leans on that bumper. Absolutely let off the brake to just push the 24 through the corner. I think that helped Cristiano.
It just might have. The gap has now extended again. As Rondoletto gets ready to take the checkered flag, we see these battles still all over the racetrack.
More contact there. You mentioned it. Octavio Rondoletto just took the checkered flag. A race win at the Chicago Street Course for car 48. That's a big day, not only for Octavio, but his car owner. Back to the fight for 5th place. Ryan Seams all over the back end of Cristiano.
They still fight going into the corner.
There it is, a mistake from Rocha, and he's going to get turned around.
And Jones Jr. is going to slip on through as well.
For 6th.
That's a spot as well. Like you said, P6. And then here comes Dirks to take 2nd place, a whole 43 seconds behind your race winner.
What a day, though.
He is happy, though. Look at him. He is still happy to take 2nd. Matthew Baer, another 4 seconds back, taking the checkered flag in 3rd. And then you've got a full 20 seconds to Frank Klein in 4th, coming around turn 12.
Impressive days out of the entire top 10, though, I gotta say. Octavio Rondoletto, Derek Dirks, Matthew Baer, Frank Klein, Ryan Seams across the line, just picks up 5th on the last lap. Eddie Jones there in 6th. Cristiano Rocha, even with the mistake there at the end, ends up 7th place. Jared Mogard back here will be the final car in the lead lap. He's going to finish 8th.
Just coming through the McDonald's drive-thru.
The 2 cars on the top 10 that finish 1 lap down are DP Riggins and Jeff Edgar. There's Mogard across the stripe. 1 or 2 more cars yet to finish. They're in the pit lane, though, so it's all Octavio Rondoletto. What a day for this guy. We knew it from practice, really, and especially from the drop of the green flag. We knew this guy would be the class of the field. He was, and a big win for car 48 this evening at Chicago.
I think he led every single
All
lap.
but one.
No, all but one. Oh my goodness. Reminds me of the Icon Cup Series just last Sunday night. Brian Smith, absolutely dominating performance, led all but just a few laps up until his incident that he had with a few of the other top contenders that night. So the only difference here, Octavio Rondoletto, he has sealed the deal here at Chicago.
Job well done for driver 48. We'll take a look at your full unofficial race results here in just a moment. Really, again, a really big day for that driver. Let's take a look at the unofficial race results, though. Octavio Rondoletto, of course, on top by 43 seconds. Derek Dirks, Matthew Baer, Frank Klein, Ryan Seams. I meant to say top 5 earlier as far as really good job across the board for each of them. I would extend that even down to Eddie Jones Jr. and Cristiano Rocha with how far they had to come from deep in this field. Jared Mogard, still a decent day, and stayed around that kind of 10th place area all day long, ends up 8th when it's all said and done. You see the full top 10 on your screen.
Yeah, like you said, Andrew, amazing job by those drivers in the top 10. Sean Patrick, Jose Godino in the 11th and 12th position. They're 2 and 3 laps down. Charles Joplin, who was up in the top 10 majority of the day, 5 laps down in the 13th position. Albert Hewins, Brent Meckes, who was one of the top contenders on the day as well. He gets a disappointing result, 6 laps down in 15th. Jason Seams in the 16th position, and that's when we really start to go into the laps down. 18, 20, 22, and 37 laps down. Doug Burns, Joe Campbell, J.R. Tanksley, and Sean Andrews. And then your last car on the day in the 21st position is, if I'm not mistaken, that was another Seams. Yes, it was. Earl Seams, 53 laps down, about 2/3 of the race.
And we'll bring in race winner Octavio Rondoletto. What a win for you. And I know from the get-go, from practice, from even heat racing and qualifying, I'm sure we knew how good you were. 69 laps led out of 70 total, Octavio. Congratulations. How does it feel to seal the deal here at Chicago?
Oh yeah, the race was extremely difficult to support because it was too long. We were too near the walls. I had a moment there in the middle of the race. I touched the wall barely with the back, but I led the most laps. I think this is my best race here in the XCAL, a part of last year Concord. But yes, the race was excellent for me.
And we move on now to the rest of this summer stretch. I mean, this is only the halfway point in the season. We talked earlier about that championship battle. Do you feel any better about it now that you picked up this haul of points today and Matthew wasn't right behind you?
Yeah, Matthew had a great finish, so he gained some points too. I didn't short too much, but it's great because I had most of the bonus points. I had 2 disconnections in the start of the year, so I was afraid of it because I was leading a race in auto lap and I lost connection in the last 3 laps, so I was afraid of that again. But yes, I think this second half of the year will be stronger with less fails. I had some fails in some races, so I worked so hard to improve, and we're showing it.
Next up, you go to Southern National for a whopping 420 laps. That's an endurance race in and of itself. This is an endurance race for sure, but it's all just consecutive with no caution. Well, the 1 caution break. Next week, it'll be completely different, really tight confines there in Lucama, North Carolina. How do you feel about Southern National in a week's time?
I really like short tracks, especially that one. I think it's really technical because you have to save your tires all the race, managing the traffic. I like that kind of things, I like the show. That's why I like the XCAL series. It's a show when you see all the people trying to pass in a half-mile track, 25 cars, 30 cars, and that's excellent. So I feel good. I think we can have another top 5 at least. But definitely I will fight for the win again.
Octavio, good to talk to you once again. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I want to say thanks, if I can, to Flaming Karma Paint Shop and Flaming Karma Racing, Roar Esports, because they helped me a lot all the year, all the sponsors of the league, because they are making it possible. You guys, I see the broadcast is amazing, and hope to see you again in the future.
Absolutely hope to be here. Octavio, once again, congratulations. Good to talk to him after it's all said and done, Zach. But here we go. Position number 2, Derek Dirks from position 19 on the grid up to second. What a day.
Yeah, absolutely. You've done a great job, Derek, to be able to put that car in a position. You're up from the 19th position. And just so we have it on the record, in case Andrew and I have been mispronouncing it, how exactly do you pronounce your last name?
Dirkus.
So we were close.
Very close.
We were very
Where
close.
were you at? Because everyone gets it wrong.
We were at Dirks.
Close enough.
We were very close. But hey, again, amazing race for you. How exactly did you manage to bring it home second place?
Consistency, pretty much. Just keep it close to the walls and hit brakes late.
We definitely noticed that. You were one of the few drivers that were successfully late braking into the corner. The one thing that caught us out, though, was that 3-wide scenario between you, Klein, and I believe that was Mekis as well. You did everything you could to stay out of them. Do you think that incident could have been a little bit more preventable, or do you think it just kind of played out as racing?
A little of both. I think I probably should have hung back a little bit. I kind of saw it was coming, but I thought I might be able to get around.
Well, you did a good job to still stay in it afterwards. I know there might have been a little hurt feelings after that, but hey, the last thing that I want to cover with you tonight is definitely the strategy calls. We had a lot of guys who stayed out on majority of what we thought would have been fuel stops or tire stops. We had a number of guys come in, take tires under the caution as well after previously pitting. Do you think if you would have changed up your strategy, it would have helped you out in any way to catch our leader, or do you think your strategy was pretty much played to perfection?
I think I was pretty much optimal. Octavio's pretty damn fast.
We have noticed. Very well clear. Well, you finished a solid 42 seconds behind in the second place, but absolutely nothing to scoff at. You came away with a solid finish here tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Dirkus, excuse me.
You got it.
Dirkus. We got it. Not mispronouncing that one again. Second place here tonight, Andrew.
And we'll move him back up and we'll grab third place finisher Matthew Bear. When it's all said and done, the strategy that we so heavily criticize, Zach, ends up going back up for third place. Matthew, you nearly hung on for second. Is there anything you could have done differently to make that strategy work a little better and hang on to second spot?
Yeah, could have not hit the wall. Very simple. I hit the wall, cost myself some time, and then I decided to try to go ahead and fix the damage instead of taking tires right there on that final stop, and that was a deciding factor, really. I feel like if I would have just put 4 tires on, I would have been able to keep them at bay and finish in second right there. But, what can you do? You win some, you lose some, and I generally make the right call. But unfortunately tonight I didn't. I mean, still came home third, not too shabby. I tried saving extremely hard. I needed one more lap on that caution sequence that we had right there. If we would have had one more lap, I would have definitely been able to do it without pitting and go to the end. But who knows if that would have still even been enough to beat Octavio at that point. He was just dominant from lap 1 right there. I don't know. Car was a little different than what it's been in practice all week. And I just wasn't as comfortable as I'd felt all week in practice. And unfortunately, I mean, still got third out of it, so you can't be too mad about it. But you still want to get a win at the end of the day.
And next up, you guys head out to Southern National and then Concord, a couple of really tight short tracks in North Carolina. Really difficult to get around, and you take this championship fight that we talked with you about earlier on today to these bull rings coming up. I mean, how do you approach that, considering Octavio just pulled out a bunch of points tonight and is going to eat into your lead a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be aggressive, but you can't be too aggressive that you put yourself in bad spots week in, week out. You got to know when you can and when you can't go. That's really going to be the main thing at Southern Nat when we go there, and Concord for that matter, because you really only have 2 places to attempt to make a move, and that's on corner exit. Concord, you got 3 technically, but I mean, really, it's really just going to come down to saving your stuff, but being aggressive at the same time, because I know he's going to show up and be fast, and I plan on showing up to be fast, so we'll just have to see what goes down, and hopefully we'll be there at the end to make some noise.
Matthew, congratulations. P3 is still a strong day.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
And Zach, that does it as far as driver interviews. What a day. I mean, unbelievable runs from some of these guys. Really incredible stuff, though, that Octavio did all day long.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with Matthew, knowing pretty much when to hold them and when to fold them. And rolling into Southern National next week, he's definitely got the head game right, where he's got to be able to maximize his points and hopefully not let those owner points drop any further down that they did tonight. Octavio definitely clawed away at it, and I don't know for certain how the bonus points work in this league, so I'm not sure how much will have been clawed away, but I'm sure it's going to be a sizable amount.
Absolutely. These guys head out to Southern National Motorsports Park next week in Lucama, North Carolina. Check XCALRacing.com for more information about where they go the rest of this season. It looks like, for the time being, we are set to pick up with them later on this year in August, if everything holds as it currently is. So we won't be back with these guys next week or even the week after. It's going to be a little while, but what a fun audition. What a fun start to our relationship here with the XCAL Webshop series. Really fun racing this evening, and could not be happier to be here. It really was a good day of racing. A long day, I will say, working up to nearly 3 hours on a Tuesday night, but that's the way they do it. Just long races. You've got to grind it out, and it wouldn't be possible without groups like Admin Box, the Butt Kicker even. Can't forget, of course, Flaming Karma Paint Shop and the Tri-E Incorporated Cooler Crew. What a name there, and of course, the XCAL Racing web shop at xcalracing.com/shop. A really strong day for so many drivers, Zach, but let's take one final look at what we have upcoming here at the channel. The next 3, or I guess technically 4 broadcasts on our menu. Next up, the Majors 24 from Le Mans on Saturday and Sunday. Some really crazy broadcast hours, honestly. 9 a.m. Eastern on Saturday, 3 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. Some 24-hour coverage there. We'll have the first 6 hours and the last 6 hours of that race on June 8th and June 9th. And then Sunday, on June 9th, after we get some sleep, we go out to Sonoma Raceway with the Icon Cup Series, and next week we go out to the Milwaukee Mile for more short track racing with the Sarah 1-8 Racing Media National Tour. And Zach, so many places to follow along.
Absolutely. Give me my glass of water, because I'm about to pop off on a brand new graphic. Not what we used to have, but if you want to follow along with Pitstop TV, you can always find us at www.pitstoptv.com. Facebook.com/PitStopTV, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, Twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV, the main place, the best place, the most awesome place to watch Pitstop TV, YouTube.com/PitStopTV1, and then X.com/PitStopTV_. Somebody time me.
I didn't, but we'll definitely have to time you in the future. Solid run through, Zach. Definitely appreciate everything you've done with us this evening, and so many evenings prior and so many evenings to go. It's been a pleasure. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV, Zach Burtis alongside. One more nod to all of our partners with the series: the XCAL Web Shop, Admin Box, the Butt Kicker, Flaming Karma Paint Shop, Tri-E Cooler Crew. That's going to take me a while to get down perfectly. And of course, our partners with the channel, Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, and CC's Business. That will do it from the virtual streets of Chicago. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you all next time. Have a great night.